Chapter 4567. Chapter 4567. The murder is raging and the air is coming. Longfei's eyes were dark and there were some surprises in his heart. If it is the arrival of Kang, Longfei will not have any feelings, but I did not expect that. In front of myself, there are actually 3 people in Chushanhai. Moreover, what makes Longfei feel even more embarrassing is that the repair of the 3 people is actually a sudden advance, so that Longfei cannot be worn. Dragon, I can't think of your life is really big, but it's good. Didn't you be arrogant at the beginning? Now you look at it again. I have already gone beyond the truth, mastering the power, overriding the fairy, and you, but it is the restoration, garbage, waste. It seems that you didn't die last time. It's also a good thing. Otherwise, how can we give the 3 of us a shame? Chushanhai 3 people said one after another. In the eyes of incomparable mania. Also very incomparable. Looking straight at the dragonfly, the expression only expresses a meaning. That is arrogance. Longfei slightly frowned, he did not expect this. I thought that the 3 people were jumping clowns, unable to turn over the wind and waves, but I did not expect to jump out now, but also succeeded in causing the moths. A shame before the snow. Ha ha ha, laughing at the old man, I don't know who was like a dog at home, the fart that my master played, squatting like a dog on the ground for mercy. Now I have found a good master, is it awesome? I am not afraid of being beaten into a dog by my master. Jianma said disdainfully. In his eyes, Longfei is already invincible. Even the superexistence of Tianzhu can suppress the obedience of the posts, and even kill the 4 royalties. Although he does not know what is there, from the expression of Scorpio, he has already guessed that the other party is not ordinary. Therefore, even the kind of character Longfei can handle it. With them 3, it is even more important. Jianma simply dismissed it. However, at this time, the face of Scorpio has changed dramatically. Why do you have the breath of the 3 of you in your body? Scorpio stunned. It seems that I saw something extremely horrible. In the eyes of Chu Shanhai and others, look at Tianzhu, this is the cat in the picture. Oh, I don't think I am still alive. But it happens to be the same. When I was holding the woman, I was able to solve it. Now, I will solve it together. Yes, the dog-stricken things, the same year dare to swear to the 3 swearers. Since we refine their power, then we should do something for them. 3 people are 1 sentence. Kill accidental leaks. And the contempt in the eyes is not hidden, as if they appeared this time, just to kill, whether it is Longfei, or the people around Longfei, all are not going to happen. The white deer figure was slightly wrong and came to Longfei. Boss, if the situation is not right, you will take the horse to build them first. The white deer said, his face was very strong. Obviously, after combining memory and power, I know more about the power of countless years ago. It also became more stable at this time. If it is the white deer before, I am afraid that I have already picked up my sleeves and I will go up. But now, in this Tongxian court, on this Tongxian road, any enemy, means are not faced before. Therefore, he must not be discouraged. However, in the eyes of Longfei, there is a bit of helplessness. A heavy smashed look at the white deer, my heart is very unhappy. His brother has never been recognized before. Life and death are bearish, just do it. Even if it is blood and blood, it must be a battle. Like the white deer, this pattern is still the first time I see it. However, Longfei can understand that the white deer is thinking for himself. However, his understanding of Longfei is not enough. Let the brothers run alone. This kind of thing can never happen. One thought about this, Longfei said, withdrawal? Why do you want to withdraw? Said Longfei's dagger. This sentence is not only to say the white deer, but to the Chu Shanhai above the void. Boss, I know that you are good at strength. But now, it is not the time to use things. Even the Scorpio must be terrified, the power is afraid that it was in the past, it is extremely powerful. And among us, the most likely to protect the amnesty, only you I can die because this is my mission. But you can't do anything with big brothers. There are bosses, you can't do anything. Even if you fight hard, I will fight for you time. Said White Deer. The words are real. It seems that life and death have been set aside, Just want to let Longfei and Yezi Mai and others leave safely. Also at this time, Scorpio is also a step forward. Yes, Longfei, this kid said it is good. Even if I see you are not pleasing to the eye, I have to admit that now you can protect your safety. So, in any case, you have to leave with your master. When the master returns, I will fix them. 1,000 steps, the whole body flashes blue and blue, it seems to be forcing yourself, breaking power, recreating the real body. Then, Longfei and Genma also came forward and stood in front of Longfei. In order to do so much, you have led me to lead the peak of this world. Everything about me is given by you and her, so let me come to this battle. Longfei said that the words are also very dignified. Genma is a sneer and a heavy nose. What do you say so much? I don't believe that they can't do the three of them. It's a big deal, it's just fighting. Master, you must go with your mother and leave it to us. Genma said. And Longfei, at this time, is very silent. The performance of several people is in his eyes, saying that it is not touched or fake. However, at the same time, it was a bitter smile. This feeling of being protected by my brother's life is really bad. It seems as if I am the boss, how incompetent. Longfei shook his head and smiled. He wanted to explain it, but he hadn't had time to come, and above the void, the three people in Chushanhai burst into laughter again. Ha ha ha, desperately? You are the kind of junk, do you think there is still a desperate qualification? Not only you, Longfei, but the woman who didn't appear behind you, all died. One is no exception, today is your death. Three people in Chushanhai screamed. The magic sense Shen is unable to resist the release of its own power, violent emptiness. As for Zhong Tailing Xiu, he is not idle. He is also laughing and showing his strength. As if to prove to Longfei, they are the master of this void world. For a time, the white deer and other people's faces are all huge changes, and the clouds are dense. But at this time, Longfei was looking up at the three people who looked at the big show, and sneered and said, "Dead? There will definitely be people who die, but I can be sure that you are dead, only you." Chapter 4568. Chapter 4568. I thought that if I got some kind of power, I wanted to force it in front of Longfei. Can you let Longfei recognize it? Let Longfei surrender? Impossible. Hey, I still dare to be arrogant now. Waiting for this legend will make you watch, your brother, your friend, one by one. And the woman in the fairy court behind you, Laro Tsu, will also kill her before you, let you experience what is called despair. The Chushan Sea roared in the eyes, and the light of hatred in the eyes was cozy. And Longfei, at this time, the breath is also a glimpse. Burning in anger. The boundless killings breed from the body. The woman who slandered him was always just a stop. That is death. In an instant, Longfei's gaze moved, the chilly ice was empty, and the power of creation on his body continued to surge, instantly rushing to Longfei's right fist. Well, I still want to take the initiative. Longfei, you really don't see the coffin without tears. Do you think that you are really qualified to be my opponent? Today, let you see what it is called the power of the world. The power of space, grinding. Chushan Si screamed. Immediately, the whole person took a step straight. But between this step, it seems to be across thousands of miles, as if jumping to another space, it is extremely embarrassing. Just like illusion. Longfei eyes glanced between the heads and locked between the eyes. The power of space. The law of space. When the dragon flew in the heart, Chushanhai started to work, and he already knew the power of Chushanhai. Ha ha ha, have you recognized it? How can you recognize it? Control the space, this legend is in an invincible position. Chushan Si laughs more than that. In an instant, the entire space is full of laughter, extremely arrogant, extremely harsh. All of a sudden, including the white deer and other faces, all appear a mistake, even panic, eyes constantly turning back and forth, want to find the Chushan Si figure, but there is nowhere to follow. It seems that Chushanhai has already taken out this side of the world and can't see it. Ha ha ha, how? A bunch of garbage, feel the fear? This space, I am the master, you are based on this space, it is already under my absolute control. Fighting me, I will let you know, what is called life is better than death. The sound of Chushan-hai came out again. Like the thunder, it is full of heaven and earth. Damn, he really controlled those forces. The power of space is simply unsolvable. How can this be good? The sky is endless and panicked. The white deer's eyes are also flawed. In any case, I have to fight for the boss anyway. Only then can there be hope. As he said, the body of the white deer moved, and the strength of the body suddenly broke out. The power of the tens of thousands of years of practice was fully opened, and it reached its peak in a flash. Then facing the void, suddenly punched a punch. Boom. A fist fell, the void collapsed, and the stratus cloud continued to fall. If this fist is broken, it is necessary to pierce the void world. Get out of lousy, shouted the white deer. The light in the eyes is cold, and the color of evil is once again emerging. However, it has no effect at all. The figure of Chushan-hai is still above the void, but the whole person has not suffered any harm. On the contrary, at this time, seeing the white deer shot, Chushan-hai's figure is directly fixed above the void. Booming. A shock and roar broke out. However, when the power of the fall was dropped, the figure of Chushan-hai was still intact, and there was no harm at all. Haha, is this strength? I can dare to offer ugliness on this point. I really don't know how to live and die. The space is torn, give the town. Chushan-hai laughed and shot. In an instant, the space around the white deer began to distort and deform, and there was no time for the white deer to react. A huge force of squeezing broke out instantly, and the body of the white deer would be directly crushed. Hey! A broken bone is a sound coming out. I saw that the white deer was under the power of the Chushan Sea, and was squeezed by the infinitely torn space. It seems as if for a moment, the white deer will tear the power of this space into pieces. Kid. Asshole, let him go. Stop. Suddenly, Tianzhu, Genma, etc. have opened their mouths, and the whole body is full of killings. After all, they could not watch the white deer dying in front of them. Yes, before they started, a pair of fists rushed to the top of the white deer head. Boom. A huge burst of sound appeared, and I saw that the force of the space that was crushed on the white deer was instantly scattered. The person who shot is Long Fei. Then, Long Fei's body jumped and he will catch the white deer's body. Boss. Sorry, I am shameful to you, not an opponent at all. Said the white deer difficult. And the dragon's mouth is a smile. Nothing, you are doing very well. At least, you have let me know what this so-called space power is all about. You can feel peace of mind. As for the three, just give it to me. Long Fei said. Just now, the reason why he did not shoot is to study the power of Chushan-hai. After all, the mystery of space has always been extremely mysterious. Even if it is his embarrassment, the ancient screen masters are only controlling the means of arbitrarily provoking the space. In front of the Chushan Sea, it is the ability to control the space at will, and the power of control is more powerful than its own. Therefore, Long Fei did not take an urgent shot, but was looking for law. Even the direct use of the eternal life, the power of eternal life to capture the power of this Chushan Sea space. And at the moment when the white deer is about to endure, Long Fei finally discovered the mystery of Chushan Sea power. Dragon, are you finally giving up? How come, seeing that your brother is abused and not adult, can't stand it? Don't worry, it will be you sooner or later. But now, since you have come out, you will abuse you first, and you will be shameful. Chushan-hai hates and says, immediately the figure is changing in the void, and the power of the incomparably heavy space begins to overlap, as if to squeeze the dragon into the middle. And at this time, Long Fei slightly raised his head. I still think you are more bullish. The power of your space, but it is infinite overlap. I thought I couldn't do anything about it. Long Fei sneered. The four forces in the hands began to brew. It is the law of the earth, the rule of law of the sun, the moon and the stars. Space law is it? Can't hurt you. That lousy directly blasted this space, watching you die. Long Fei's eyes are condensed, and he jumps into the body, creating the power of the whole body, plus the power of the four laws, blending into one. A punch hit. Chapter 4569. Chapter 4569 Rumble. Above the entire void, with Longfei's shot, they began to tremble. The void roared, and the large voids were directly broken by the collision of Longfei. At this moment, Longfei's body is like a dragon, breaking through the nine. The creation of the second-class body is invincible in the void, there are no taboos in the 900 and 600, and what space is crushed, all are bubbles. Burst. At this time, Longfei drank and the firepower was fully opened. He has already understood the power of the Chushan Sea, but it is to overlap the space and control the power of the space to confront the enemy. Therefore, at this moment, Longfei shot, there is only one thought in the heart, that is, the power to explode all the space. At that time, no matter which overlapping space Chushanhai hides, it is impossible to escape. Now, it is the best time. Hey! Rumble! Longfei punched the air and broke out above the void. In a flash, the violent roaring sound appeared, and with the sound of roaring, the layers of space began to burst, and the figure of Chushanhai also quickly zoomed in with the collapse of this space, just a moment of time, directly reappear between heaven and earth. At this time, Chushanhai's body has no such feeling of emptiness. Not impossible, the space is endless, how can you find my place? No. I don't believe it. Chushanhai was shocked. The eyes are full of fear. Because no one is more clear than himself, his greatest reliance is infinite space. But now, the space on this layer of the heaven and earth is all smashed by Longfei, that is to say, his power has no effect at all. I never thought about finding your position. I only know that under the heavens and the earth, all the space is shattered, and you have no place to hide. Now it is your turn. Longfei sneaked a smile, the strength of the hands again condensed, and then punched a punch toward the Chushan Sea. Boom! The power of violentness swept away again. This time it is more direct. Because all the space power has been bombarded by Longfei, this time the target is only Chushanhai. There is no barrier at all, just licking Huanglong. In an instant, Chushanhai's face became extremely flustered, panic-stricken, and his hands continued to dance. I want to kill me, it is impossible. Longfei, even if you can break the space in front of you, outside the void, there are countless spaces, and my strength can jump over the hands. I said, I am in an invincible position. Ha ha ha. Chushanhai's hands lead to the void, directly tearing a space, turning back to laugh at Longfei, and then turning into space. Yes, it's straightforward. At this time, he can only run. Longfei will not give him this opportunity. Just in the moment when Chushanhai is about to enter another space, a long sword slams out of the space crack. It is the sword of the devil. Hey! A sword whistling, Chushanhai's reaction did not respond, it was directly worn by the sorcerer's sword hole, and fell heavily in the void. At this time, Longfei's punch also followed. Call? Are you not invincible? Let's run another look. This time, I can see who can save you. Longfei said indifferently, some kind of cold and ruthless. No, don't kill me, Longfei, if you kill me, the adults will definitely destroy you. Chushanhai shouted. At this time, I still want to use Kang to shock Longfei. As everyone knows, the more so, the more provocative on the edge of death. You will not change something else. Every day with the cells, do you think that I am really afraid of threats? I hate the threat of others. Don't die, even ask for mercy. Longfei smiled coldly and said. Threat. Longfei is never afraid. Especially Kang, this is the man he must be. Still need to be afraid. Non-existent. And Chushanhai, this time is also a bright eye, as if catching the straw of life, quickly said, begging for mercy, I beg for mercy. I beg you, don't kill me. Dragon-flying adult, Grandpa, as long as you don't kill me, I am willing to be a dog under your hand. At that time, the Lord of the Immortals returning together, we will destroy Kang. Chushanhai has expressed his heartfelt heart. It looks charming, like a dog, humble to the extreme. However, Longfei is a smile. Begging for mercy? Not bad. But unfortunately, begging for mercy now, late. Longfei sneered, and the power in his hand still has no pause. You fool me. Chushanhai looked at the figure of Longfei's rapid approach and shouted, and his anger was unstoppable. You are doing a good job, Lao Tzu is playing you. Don't say that you are begging for mercy, you are your special squat, today is also mortal. Explosion. Long Fei was not moved at all, and the figure was like a dragon, and it was approaching in an instant, and then a fist fell. Rumble. Boom. The violent power broke out and drowned the Chushan Sea directly. Hey, congratulations to the players to kill Chushan Hai, gaining 50 billion experience, the source value is 5 billion, and the violent value is 1 point. Hey, congratulations to the player for the mountain road. Hey, congratulations to the players for obtaining the law of Shanghai town. Also at this time, the sound of the system appeared. However, Long Fei is slightly frowning. Well, system, the power of space. Long Fei's heart is wronged. After abolishing such a great strength, even the white deer was seriously injured. What he wanted was the power of space. But I did not think that it did not burst out. Although the explosion rate is not low, it has been a level with Dong Tianwang. Even the experience has given 50 billion. However, there are still some gaps with Long Fei's thoughts. For a time, Long Fei's heart was also paralyzed, considering whether or not to be violent. But the next moment, Long Fei's gaze turned, locked the magical mystery above the void and Zhon Tailing Xiu. Explosive one is also explosive, simply wait until all kill, let it burst. Long Fei thought. This time, the system did not explode the space, making Long Fei feel very uncomfortable. But if you use it this time, the rest of the two people will not be able to burst out, and it is not what Long Fei wants. Therefore, at this moment, Long Fei directly decided to kill two people and then directly violent. Then, with the eyes of Long Fei, the body suddenly changed direction and went to the two. At this time, the expressions of the two have also changed. They did not think that Li Ling of Chushanhai was so mysterious that she was still smashed by Long Fei. Moreover, there is no suspense, directly killed by the spike. For a time, my heart also gave birth to a mind, do not want to fly with Long Fei. It can be said that when it was just here, it was not a face at all. Especially now, they just got the power of this violent, and they don't want to give birth to any accidents. As soon as I read this, the two looked at each other and gave birth to a retreat. Dragon, you are too arrogant, really when we can't deal with you. The magic sense Shen said a word, but the figure is constantly retreating. And Long Fei, but still proud, full body strength. Come on, I will send you back to the west. Chapter 4570. Chapter 4570. The dragon-flying figure stands in the void and kills the sky. No matter what the two people think now, Long Fei's idea is one, that is, they are exploding. Not to mention that nightmare is coming soon, Long Fei will never let anyone bother. The grievances of the entire Tongxian Road alone will not let them go. In addition, there is Chushan Hai, the introduction, direct 50 billion experience, the explosion of various forces, simply comparable to the boss. This kind of existence, Long Fei will let go? Non-existent. Long Fei hit a fist and went straight to the two. Boom. The power is almost exploding. A punch that combines the power of the four laws, close to the limit of power, even if it is a void world, nothing can be done. Rumble. This punch is more violent than before, and it directly penetrates the void. Whether it is the magic sense or the Zhon Tailing Xiu, both of them are bombarded. At this time, the magical sense of the whole body changed. Directly rushing out of the void of endless destruction, holding a long knife standing on the void. Dragon, are you too arrogant? The magical sense of Shen's body changes unpredictable, above a long knife, it is a roundabout endless killing. Filled with endless cold. Long Fei is also a glimpse, looking at the magical mystery above the void, eyes. Instinct, Long Fei felt that the magic sense has changed. To be exact, the entire power system has changed. Originally, the magical sense is the devil, but now, the breath that is expressed is full of a sense of awe, and there is a kind of righteousness in the feint. I rub, what did he get? Even his own breath has changed. Long Fei has a footstep and wants to check it through the system. It doesn't matter if you don't look at it. Even Long Fei feels amazed. Magic Shen, creation plus boss. Repaired, passing wonderland. Description, Take control of the power of the punishment of the immortality, and knives, punishment of the world. At a glance, Long Fei sees through all the attributes of the magical sense. The description is very simple, even the basic properties are not prompted. But the level and repair are one. Long Fei knows that this guy is not simple. Different from Chushan Si. The point is because the power of this rule is too overbearing. I said how I feel wrong. I can't think of this power, and the cliff will burst out. Long Fei's heart is also excited. This kind of power is different from the space power of Chushan Hai. This can be said to be pure killing, simple and direct, convicted and sentenced, quite violent. At this time, the magical feelings above the void are changing, and the face is also proud. How? Perceive the power of this town? Now you are not too late to return, this town will give you a chance, now retreat, there is still a line of life, otherwise, when I shoot, you are guilty, this town directly punishes the sky and destroys your soul. The magic sense Shen said, a glimpse of the eyes, the body is full of suffocation. Just like a moment of incarnation of the executioner. At this time, Zhon Tailing Xiu was also a sudden change in breath. In an instant, the body shirt turned directly into a gorgeous armor. Half black and half white. Even the hair color has become glamorous. The dragon flies in the light and looks at the Zhon Tailing Xiu. The power of time? Long Fei sneaked. This feeling is familiar to the day. After all, he just came out of the time and space of his mother's casting, so the night of the body and the atmosphere changed. Long Fei has already realized the power attribute of the night child. In general with the Chushan Si, what is obtained is a special attribute power, the law of time. Looking at the night after the transformation, my Fei, the heart of the dragon flying in the mouth. I have to say that Zhon Tailing Xiu is also a full-fledged beauty, put on this body armor, but also the front convex back, especially charming. The dragon flying is all hunger and thirst. However, after the transformation, Zhon Tailing Xiu became more and more cold, giving people a feeling of iceberg beauty. Also at this time, Zhon Tailing Xiu also noticed the eyes of Long Fei, his face was cold. Shen Sheng said, "How? Long Fei, look at me like this, want to get me?" Zhon Tailing Xiu eyes cold voice said. "What about it?" said Long Fei. "No eyes are hidden. Do not use camouflage." I thought, even Long Fei felt a little sorry in my heart. After all, it would be a pity that such a beautiful woman would kill. You don't think it's okay, but you have to kill all these people, and then kill the woman in Xianting, I will give it to you. Zhon Tailing Xiu said, his eyes seemed to have nothing to show. A blur. As if deliberately tempted Long Fei. Obviously, I have absolute confidence in my appearance. However, she is too naive. Even if Long Fei has an idea for him, it is only an absolute desire. Not at all emotional. I saw the dragon-fly mouth gently pick a sneer. Is this a condition? Long Fei said faintly. Yes, as long as you do it, I am your woman. Zhon Tailing Xiu said. There is a flash of light in the eyes, it seems that Long Fei has been hooked. But the next moment, Long Fei's words directly made her angry. Just listen to Long Fei and say, conditions? Are you also worthy? The woman who lousy casually grabs one is not what you can compare. I want you, I am honored. On your own, I still want to compare with my brother and woman. I don't look at myself a few pounds. Long Fei said. Naked ridicule. Not to mention a Zhon Tailing Xiu, even a woman who is on the waterside, in the eyes of Long Fei, cannot be compared with his brother and woman. Therefore, at this moment, the words of Zhon Tailing Xiu are a clown in the eyes of Long Fei. Even the stun of the heart disappeared completely without a trace. No interest, the only idea is to destroy her. Ah, damn, dragonfly, I want you to die, and these people, I want you all to die. The magic is mysterious, let's do it. You should be clear, if we can't complete the task, the adults will not let us go. And, haven't you seen it yet? Long Fei has been playing around with us. He can't be attached to us at all. Zhon Tailing Xiu said, the eyes were chilly. At this moment, she has been completely irritated by Long Fei. I can't wait to let Long Fei give it to the people. And Long Fei also said at this time, that's good, Lao Tzu is playing you. The power of the punishment of the day. The power of time and space, really when Laozi is helpless. There is no existence. Lao Tzu wants you to crush you under the state of prosperity. Long Fei said. And between the words, the strength of Long Fei has once again condensed. This time, Long Fei gave up the punch of using the 4 rules and turned the scorpion sword in his hands. With a sigh, Long Fei took out a sword. Chapter 4571. Chapter 4571. The sorcerer's sword is sweeping, and all evil spirits are scented and instantly annihilated. Long Fei's eyes are persevering, and he is rampant. He seems to have no jealousy in his heart. He holds a long sword and walks in a row. Boom. Under the shackles of the sword, the entire void has been continuously collapsed. The sword is invincible, sweeping everything, and any force that blocks the strength of the 96 in front of him is turned into powder. At this time, the 2 fangs on the sword flashed, and it was a breath of incomparable evil. At the end of this breath, a group of black shadows appeared directly and trampled on the void. In the eyes of Long Fei, a slight movement between the heads and the meaning of the shackles is an instant. This is what he wants. Similarly, the opposite of the magical mystery and the Zhon Tailing Xiu is also a glimpse. Feeling the breath released by a virtual shadow in front of the eyes, both of them were shocked. Especially the magic sense, the face instantly became very white. Even the long knife on the hand began to utter a whisper of constant noise, constantly trembled, and the magical sense of Zhuan Huku cracked open, and a trace of blood fainted. Impossible, what is this breath? How can I make my sword feel fear? The magic sense is horrified, and he keeps shaking his head, and his eyes are full of uncontrollable fears. As for Zhon Tailing Xiu, there is no such perception. She just felt a sturdy and incomparable evil atmosphere. Although she was shocked, she did not show her emotions like the magical mystery. Magic Xian, what happened to you? Asked Zhon Tailing Xiu. After all, the power of the magical sense, she is also clear, at this moment, seeing the magical sense of the mystery of such a big reaction, thinking that it is what is perceived, and even brought a bit of caution. This power is too strange. It seems to restrain all evil spirits. My power of punishment is the breath of the fallen gods. It is naturally evil. But this breath seems to be naturally restrained. Even the sword feels fear. The magic sense Xian whispered, and then look at the dragon flying with the sword in the void, the heart has already given birth to a retreat. After all, he didn't want to fight with Long Fei before. If it wasn't for Zhon Tailing Xiu's words, he would hesitate, and now he's gone. Cannot think of it, Long Fei has such a card. Because Long Fei had already had a sword before, but it did not break out. What should I do? Anyway, you know that we can have it now, and all of them are given by adults. If we can't complete the task of an adult, when we go back, it will be impossible to escape. Zhon Tailing Xiu said. There is a fear between the words and the bottom of the eyes. It seems that the power of Kang has been imprinted on their bones and does not dare to disobey. The magical sense of the mysterious eye is a flash of color. Hate and Bite said, "Oh, things are now more useless. War, I don't believe, and the power of both of us is not his opponent of a waste." The magic sense Shen Cold said, then, he raised his hand knife, squatting. Boom. Rumble. For a moment, a knife was born and turned from the sky. Rumble. The knives and tens of thousands of miles, tyrannical, and the chill of the world, fell out of thin air. Long Fei looked up and looked at the knife that fell from the sky. The scorpion flashed, there was no panic, and the backhand was a sword. And with the dragon flying a sword out, the demon above, Win the hook virtual shadow is more with the sword, the sky roared, facing the long knife is a punch. Boom. Win the hook and shadow, and wrap up the sword, and attack it. In an instant, the two forces collided together, and the demon sword and the sword of the knives directly broke out the incomparably powerful blast. In a flash, the whole void became unrecognizable, fragmented, and even the void began to slant constantly, as if under two forces, it is difficult to support. At this time, Zhon Tailing Xiu also suddenly screamed, "Day and night." As soon as the words fell, the whole world suddenly turned around day and night, and the light became dark. Even more frightening is that this is not a technique at all, but a law. It is Long Fei who feels that, at night, even the whole body has formed an oppression. It seems to be torn. Nima, the power of time and space has this means. Long Fei said in his heart. I knew that I would encounter this kind of power and I should take it from my mother. However, this is not a key point, because at this time, the power of Zhong Tailing Xiu is only the beginning. The next moment, it is said directly, spring and autumn. In an instant, 4 times change, the power of infinite time acts on Long Fei. And Long Fei, even more feel that his life yuan in this moment, directly passed away, as if swallowed up in general, disappeared without cause. I ***** me to win my life. Long Fei was also a glimpse. Suddenly, he looked at Bailu and others from the line of sight and found that there was no change in them. Only then did this understand that this power is only for himself. How to do? Now I have to deal with 2 people at the same time. I knew that I would have married this woman directly. I don't have to worry now. Long Fei's heart is extremely irritating. Looking at the power of time that has swept through, I feel the eternal life of Shouyuan, and my heart is full of anger. However, there is nothing at all. Because now, his whole body strength is on the demon sword, want to smash the magic sense Xian, did not expect Zhong Tailing Xiu actually control such disgusting power. At this time, the platform leader, the cold scorpion, flashed a cold light, staring at Long Fei again said, Hey, don't know what you are good, think you are more aggressive? Dare to insult me? Today, let you slowly decay under the power of this time. When you let me experience endless pain, watch your eyes, your brother, your woman, all die under our hands. Ling Xiu said. Long Fei looked up and burned in anger. He said, Is it by you? Such a superficial force, I want to take my life. I can't stand still, see if you can clean my life. However, you don't have to worry, wait for Laozi to kill the magic sense, that is your death. Said, Long Fei fully manipulated the scorpion sword, holding a long sword, and suddenly met again. The magic sense is also not to be outdone. Just once confronted, although he felt extremely uncomfortable, the shadow also made him feel a deadly threat. But now, with the sharing of Zhong Tailing Xiu, he can also feel that the power of Long Fei is constantly weakening. Ha ha ha, Long Fei, why do you support it? Don't you feel that your strength is weakening? Life and death, in front of time, everything is a joke. As long as you are still in one of the rules, even if you are arrogant and do not jump out of the rules, you must accept the baptism of time. Today, you will die. The magical sensation laughed, and the knives shook again and suddenly fell. Chapter 4572. Chapter 4572. The huge long knife fell again from the void. And this time, it was more fierce than before, and the knife was flashing, and it was almost like a dragon. Long Fei was in the cold, and the backhand was a sword, and he directly greeted him. Boom. Rumble. Rumble. The sound of a huge burst of sound swept through thousands of miles, and instantly blew up thousands of miles of smoke. Below, the white deer and other people's faces are filled with worry. However, at this level of combat, they have not been able to plug in. It's so strong, I don't think this kid is so strong, even this kind of power is also capable of resisting. I can't believe it in my eyes. It seems that I never thought that Long Fei could be strong enough. Ha ha ha, stupid. Don't look at it, what is my master's existence? This kind of person is ***** in front of my master. Jianma laughed and looked at Long Fei, who was on the top of the void, full of expectations. But only the white deer and the Long Fei were silent. Binoculars lock the dragon fly above the void. No, now the boss is in the wrong state. It seems that his strength is steadily weakening. It seems that there is a strange and unpredictable breath on him. Said the white deer. The eyes are very calm, and it is not a star or a half with the bear children who were not afraid of the day. Mixed kid, what do you say? I see the master's strength, and it will take a long time for these 2 people to be killed by the master. Jianma did not agree. After all, with his eyes, these forces are not perceived at all. At this time, Long Fei also said, he said it was good, but the situation is not optimistic. As soon as the voice fell, Jianma and Tianzhu were busy shifting their sights. But now, I can't see it at all. Jianma is because the repair is not enough, but the Scorpio is unable to open because of its own power, but also cannot see. Kid, what is the power you said Tian Hao. I don't know. But I believe that no matter what strength in front of him, it is not enough to be a threat. Longfei said. Eyes are determined, very confident. It seems that there is 100% confidence in Longfei. The picture turns again and returns to Longfei. At this time, the body of Longfei has become dull, and the feeling of vicissitudes of the years is self-evident. I have wiped it. Is this going to kill me? Will my life devour my life? Longfei is extremely uncomfortable at this moment. Although my strength has not diminished, it is indeed different from the previous one. Just like mortals, the physical strength of middle-aged people is definitely not comparable to that of the elderly. This is the difference. It is like the power of time and space of Zhong Tai-Ling Xiu, which has caused Longfei's life to pass to a certain extent, and even the strength of the limb itself has been eroded by the power of the years, no longer. Even the speed of the sword began to slow down. Even the illusion of a winning streak seems to be somewhat inadequate. Ha ha ha, he can't. Zhantai, continue, you will devour his Shouyuan with time, and he will not be able to support it for a long time. Sword, punishment. The magical sensation screamed and fell again. Rumble. A knife smashed through the sky, stirring the void, if you want to split the heavens and the earth. Zhong Tai-Ling Xiu's face is cold, and he can also sense the changes in Longfei's body. Looking up late, spring and autumn, I can't help you at 4 o'clock, then, I hope you can hold it. I don't believe, your life can be endless. 1,000,000 years. Zhong Tai-Ling Xiu shouted. In an instant, the breath of a year has come suddenly. And Longfei, it is a sigh. This time, even if he can obviously feel the difficulty. It's hard to get it. All his strengths are still there, but even the display is a little powerless. Diligence, 2 interest, 3 interest. Just a few breaths of time, Longfei felt that his face was out of the sword. As with the operation of the power of creation, I have received embarrassment. Not working well. It seems that the body of the present, under the influence of the power of the years, has been completely decayed, and even the amount of violent violence of the power of creation cannot be operated. Suddenly, Longfei's eyes were condensed. I am going to Zhong Tai-Ling Xiu. Nima, look at it for 1,000 years. This is something that no one can hold. Even if Laozi now has millions of years of life, it is not enough to play. Longfei's heart was speechless, and he was still extremely disdainful about the power of Zhong Tai-Ling Xiu. But now, it's directly forced. Originally thought that among the three, the most dish is the Zhong Tai-Ling Xiu. I did not expect that this is the real king. No, you must find a way to solve the problem with Zhong Tai-Ling Xiu. This kind of power, killing people, is invisible. If you go on like this, you can't use a bit of time. I am afraid that my life will be deprived. At that time, even if there are more means, it will be useless. Longfei thought in his heart, and his mind kept turning. It is a direct connection between the system, swiftly sweeping through the system page, and want to find a power solution. The Blade of the Kings, no. The power of the King of the Kings is good now, but the first 3 knives are not enough for this level of power. As for anything else, it is even more useless. What to do? Longfei's eyes flashed from the system skills again and again. But whether it is the power of the Fall or the power of the former East King and others, it is simply not enough to solve the situation at hand. At this time, the magic sense Xian is even more than the dragonfly. At this time the state is not right. The power cannot be displayed, but also kills and spells out. It is also direct handheld knives. It is cut towards the dragonfly. It seems like a knife dagger. The penalty is a dragon. In the eyes of Longfei, there was a panic, and his body shape retreated. He lifted the sword in his hand and slashed it out. Hey! The sword collided. This time, Longfei was directly shot, and even the sword could not be controlled, and the void was directly dropped. Ha ha ha, dragonfly, you have today? Just give you a chance, don't you? Now, are you satisfied? Don't dare to force it in front of us. Unfortunately, Chu Shanhai's stupidity can't be seen, otherwise you will see that you are like a dog, unable to resist, will be very proud. The magic sense Xian proudly said that the killing in the eyes is even more jetted out. But more, it is the meaning of abuse and ridicule. At this time, Zhon Tailing Xiu said, "Magic sense, don't waste time, directly abolish him, I want him to watch." His brother and woman, one by one died in front of him. "Dare to insult me, I must let him live instead of death," Zhon Tailing Xiu said. Very hot and spicy. Long Fei also suddenly looked up at this moment, and his heart sighed directly, and both eyes became a golden glow. The eternal life. Even with the depths of the soul, the eternal life of the seal began to tremble at this time. The next moment, Long Fei got up straight, and the light was cold, swallowing the life of Laozi. "Resolve, Laozi. The old man will let you know what is really desperate. Because Laozi is the Lord of eternal life," Long Fei said with a deep voice. The sound came out like a nine secret, filled with the coldness of death. Chapter 4573. Chapter 4573. The dragon flew in the air and angered. The whole body also became impermanent, a mysterious breath, ejected from the body of Long Fei. The eternal life is even more radiant at this time, and the world is shining. Enraged, disdainful, and even killing, multiple emotions broke out directly in Long Fei. In the 961 moment, above the void, Zhon Tailing Xiu's face was condensed, and the pupil suddenly shrank. It seems that he saw a very terrible thing in general. His flower color was eclipsed, his look changed greatly. "Not impossible, you. How can you break free from time? This is absolutely impossible." Zhon Tailing Xiu was shocked. "I can't believe it. Because now, Long Fei seems to be free from time. The power of his own time can no longer be applied to Long Fei. The law of time is directly invalid, and he can no longer capture the life of Long Fei." "Impossible? Nothing is impossible. But, thank you, if you have swallowed up so many Shouyuan of Laozi." Laozi almost forgot. Laozi is the eternal life. Long Fei said faintly, indifferent. "What is the Lord of eternal life? It is the heavens and the earth that are destroyed, and I am not destroyed. The moon is ruining and I am immortal. You are smashing the sea, the sky is falling apart, I am free, outside of time, between heaven and earth. Lord of eternal life? Impossible. Even if there is an end to heaven and earth, there is no eternal life. I do not believe. A glance for 1,000 years, give me a swallow. If Zhon Tailing's show is crazy. In the eyes, it is a crazy means of display, and I want to capture Long Fei Shouyuan again. However, this time it was useless. Let her do it." When these forces touched Long Fei, they disappeared directly, just like flying sand, and they were vulnerable. "Tunima, isn't it enough to swallow it? Is Laotsu's Shouyuan also you want to swallow it? And you, the egg, just cut it very cool, right? Penalty. Who specializes in giving you the qualification and the execution of Laozi?" Long Fei's eyes are cold, flashing through the void, and emitting endless cold. It is like a supreme being, disturbed by two reptiles. Unforgivable. With the cold voice of Long Fei, the magical sense also feels a whole body. If the whole person is fixed on the void, even the sword in his hand will start to have a feeling of fear. It seems that Long Fei is face to face. There is no qualification at all to hurt Long Fei. Impossible. How could this be? You are clearly dead. How could it be revived? I don't believe it. Sword, give me a sigh. The magical sense is also constantly embarrassing, and it is simply unacceptable for this sudden change in the eyes. Especially now, even his own strength has caused fear to Long Fei, and even makes him fearful. In an instant, it was shrouded in boundless horror. Below, the white deer and other people also perceive the changes above the void, especially the Scorpio. At this moment, the pupils are constantly shrinking, and the pace is constantly retreating. It seems that the power of Long Fei at this time also affects them in general. Well, I know, the boss must have his own means, otherwise it will not become a force beyond the number of days to come here. The white deer was overjoyed, exclaimed, full of expectations. But again, the pace is also a little backward, as if in the face of the power of Long Fei, they are not qualified to face. There are also horses, and even Long Fei. But the emotions on their faces are the same, all excited. Very excited. At this moment, they know. This battle has already produced results, and the dust has been set. The picture turned and returned to Long Fei. At this moment, Long Fei, watching the magic sense Xian and Zhong Tai Ling Xiu continue to shoot, in the eyes, is full of a kind of disgusting color. Then, as soon as the dawn was turned, the power of eternal life was directly drawn from the soul of God. Surrounded by Long Fei's body through the glare of Long Fei. Incomparably mysterious, but overbearing. It seems that all the forces in the world are wet ****** in the face of eternal power, and can only bow down. Enough, now, if you have been delayed for so long, you should send you back to the west. Sword is coming. A faint phrase, Long Fei reached out and found out that he had been smashed by the magical Xianzong, and immediately rushed from the sky under the void, shining endless edge and killing, returning to the hands of Long Fei. Long Fei held a long sword and took out a sword. Rumble. Rumble. For a moment, the sky was overturned and the rift was cracked. The endless thunder of the sky suddenly appeared. It seems that the sky was worn by a dragon and a sword. Similarly, under the sword of Long Fei, the knives were shot and the magical sensation was also heavily bombarded. The face smashed the endless ruins of Xianting and finally fell. However, Long Fei now has no mind to pay attention to the magic sense, but the eyes look at the Zhong Tai Ling Xiu. Before, the power of Zhong Tai Ling Xiu swallowed so many longevity. If it is not the last to touch the eternal shackles, maybe this time it is possible to overturn the ship in the gutter. This makes Long Fei's heart quite uncomfortable. There is even a little fear. Therefore, at this moment, Long Fei's killing of the Zhong Tai Ling Xiu has already penetrated into the bone marrow and belongs to the column of killing. And Zhong Tai Ling Xiu looked at Long Fei to step by step toward himself, and then looked at the magical sense of life and death, and was completely desperate. Her biggest card is the power of time, that is, Shou Yuan swallowed. But now, this power is useless for Long Fei. In other words, in front of Long Fei, she is now qualified for the shot. Dragon fly. Don't be impulsive. Don't you like me? I can be your woman. No, I can be your slave. As long as you let me go, I can do whatever I want. Zhong Tai Ling Xiu said with a trembling voice, his eyes filled with femininity, and even at this time, he did not forget to seduce. I want to seduce Long Fei with my own beauty. However, it is useless at all. Be my woman. Ha ha ha, are you worthy? If you said this before, maybe you can still sleep for you. But now, you don't even qualify as a slave. Give me death. Long Fei word for word, killing stunned, and then a sword smashed out, directly cut through the void, and smashed to Zhong Tai Ling Xiu. Hey! A sword wears a chest, and a drop of blood falls from the void. Zhong Tai Ling Xiu unwillingly looked at the chest he was pierced, wanted to curse, but had no chance, and finally his neck slammed and died. As for Long Fei, it is a sharp sword, and then step out, directly to the front of the magic sense. Do you think that the power of the magic road is also a nourishment for the demon sword? Long Fei was indifferent, without hesitation, a sword stabbed to the serious feeling of mystery. The next moment, the endless magic is like a dike, pouring from the magical mystery into the scorpion sword. Just a moment, the magic sense is directly swallowed into a person. Ding! At this time, Long Fei even smashed 2 people, and the system sounded as soon as possible. Chapter 4574. Chapter 4574. Hey, congratulations to the player to kill Zhong Tai Ling Xiu, gaining 50 billion experience. The source value is 5 billion, and the violent value is 1 point. Hey, congratulations to the players to kill the magic sense, gaining 50 billion experience, gaining a source value of 5 billion, and a violent value of 1 point. Hey, congratulations to the players for getting the water. Hey, congratulations to the player to get the dark magic. Hey, congratulations to the players, the sword is upgraded, the current level is 4 levels. System sounds constantly appear. However, the results still make Long Fei unsatisfied. I wipe, system, is this intentional? Even killing 3, haven't exploded the power of the law they got. Longfei heart in the belly. System, violent. Longfei said directly. At this time, there is no other choice. If you really don't give it up, Longfei is really not willing. The power of the 9 cows and 2 tigers has been abolished, and even the power of eternal life has been drawn. If only this thing is finally obtained, it is simply out of the sky. The system is also silent for a short time. Hey, congratulations to the players for the power of time. Hey, congratulations to the players for the power of space law. Hey, congratulations to the players for their penalties. The system has 3 sounds. After 3 times, return to silence. And Longfei, the heartbeat is mad as the system sounds down. A violent, 3 harvests. Originally, Longfei had not expected the power of the space of Chushanhai to burst out. Unexpectedly, it is really a surprise to appear in this way. Ha ha ha, can you do this? System, excellent. Longfei could not help but whisper. It can be said that there has been a change in the system. What I had not hoped for before, but now suddenly appeared, this kind of impact, but more powerful than originally expected. At this time, as the 2 were desecrated, the whole void was returned to calm. The body of Longfei gradually fell from the void. Genma and others are about to get close. However, there is still 100 feet away from Longfei, and it stops. Not that they don't want to, but they can't. At this point, Longfei still exudes a strong atmosphere to crush everything, not at all they can resist. Old boss, now people are dead, and the breath can be put away. Genma said with difficulty, his face has become extremely embarrassing. It seems that in the face of Longfei's breath, there is no support. The white deer and other people are also embarrassed. Now they are better than Genma, but they are still not enough. Longfei is also a glimpse. But immediately, it was a bitter smile. I was immersed in the impulse to kill the magic sense Xian and Zhon Tai Ling Xiu. I didn't have time to think more. Now, when I opened the door, I realized that I am now breathed. It is violent. The power of eternal life is unbridled and vented. Even if he has the heart to stop it, he can't do it at all. It was like breaking the water of the dike, and at the moment he opened the gap, he was beyond his control. Between the thoughts, Longfei also gave birth to a few points of alert. Although the power of eternal life is strong, the identity of his eternal life is now extremely embarrassing. Because he has the name of the Eternal Lord, he cannot truly control this power. It can be said that since I took over the Lord of Eternal Life from the Temple of Eternal Life and the Taoist, this power has never really been controlled. Mom, no, this kind of power must be in control. In this state, maybe there will be any accidents. Longfei's heart is also tight. Quickly said, I have to go to the closed customs to refine this power. You are now prepared to be prepared here. If you come, remember to call me. If you force, you must force me to go out. Longfei firmly said. The power of eternal life is important, but it is more important than the safety of your brother. After that, Longfei did not wait for everyone to react, and with a move, he directly opened up a space, and the figure did not enter it. Only the white deer and others are left on the ground. The boss said it is good. Our first priority now is to guard the return of the big man. Everything else is a small thing. Said the white deer. In love, whether it is because of Longfei, or because of his mission, he cannot give up guarding the night. Even if he wants his life, he will not hesitate. Surprisingly, Genma and Longfei did not express any opinions. Obviously, it is extremely recognized for the words of the white deer. Even if it was Scorpio, there was no speech at this time. Even very well behaved to hide aside, there is no arrogance. Even in the presence of the white deer, they dare not continue to force. No way, everything is just because Longfei is too strong. Strong enough to let him suffocate. Therefore, now he has no courage to be arrogant in front of Genma and others. For a time, the heavens and the earth fell into silence again, as if nothing had happened. However, the collapse of the void, as well as the violent thunder, all prove that there has been an unusual earth-shattering battle. At this time, within the fairy court. Endless fairy glory, the power of 24 products to create Qinglian also poured into the body of the night. At this time, The night child is standing in the middle of the lotus platform, surrounded by blue light. The atmosphere of the night child is even more arrogant. If Longfei is here, he will be amazed. This breath has far surpassed everyone I have seen in Longfei. Including the former respected avatar, in front of the night's charming atmosphere, not worth mentioning. At this time, the endless floating fairy light gradually began to recede. The eyes of my Zimei also slowly opened. Tongxian, Tongxian. A million years have passed, I am finally back. Kang, there are days, this time, I must break away from your control. And Longfei, I will not let you down, no matter what, I want you to get the number of days in this continent. Night Child is very determined. Immediately, the body moved and straightened up. In the moment when she got up, there was a burst of roaring in the entire Xianting, and then suddenly collapsed. 24 green lotuses were also directly integrated into the body of the night. At this time, the white deer and other people were also attracted by the sound here, and they looked directly at the same time. The host, Great Emperor, Scorpio and the white deer exclaimed at the same time. The night child looked at the two, faintly nodded, and then looked at the sky and looked directly at the void. In the same way, at this time in the world outside the void, Kang itself is encircling the enlightenment before the numerous sequences of patterns, but at this moment, directly opened his eyes. Waste. It's all waste. After all, I will let you return. However, how many years have you been repaired? I was able to destroy you that year, this world, the same can be. The face was full of anger and anger. Chapter 4575. Chapter 4575. In another space, Longfei's hands flew, and over again gathered the eternal power of his body. However, the power of eternal life is too violent. The more the dragonflies want to suppress, the more it feels the rebellion of this power. I am Nima. The power of eternal life is perfect. Playing. Really, when I am the eternal life of the Lord, is a name. Longfei's heart is depressed, his eyes are condensed, and he also gives birth to a kind of obsession. That is to say that this power must be suppressed. That's it. Even if the boss dragon flying in the face of killing days has not compromised, in the face of a kind of power, can the other party take control of the initiative? Absolutely not. Mom sells the batch, Lousy does not believe it, and can't control a force. Create a second class, give me a drive. Give it to me. King of the kings, Kowloon Royal, the authority of the earth, the heavens and the seals, the sun and the moon, the stars, give me out. The dragonflies and drinks, no matter how useful or useless, the power that can get the hand is all made out of white, in order to suppress the constant force of eternal life. Boom. For a moment, Longfei only felt that the entire space that had been opened up began to riot. In the roar, all the power seemed to form a confrontation. On the one hand, it is the self-mechanism of Longfei. On the one hand, it is the eternal power that constantly erupts from the eyes. Longfei feels that his body seems to be a melting pot, and many forces confront each other. That kind of tremendous pressure made Longfei almost faint. Even the second-level creative body can't support it. Diligence, 2 interest, 3 interest. It was only the time of the 3 interest, a crisp sound appeared, all the strength of the breath, all scattered and scattered, in addition to the power of eternal life is still awkward, other powers, nowhere. I am Nima, is it so violent? Longfei's heart was shocked. Thoroughly stunned. These forces, no matter which one, take out of the power that can sweep the heavens, let alone the mainland of the immortals, even if it is the king of the world, it must be turned into a fly ash in front of this power. However, this is the case, in the face of this violent eternal power, still not enough to see, just like a joke, even 3 seconds of time have not been supported, it is directly rushed by the power of eternal life. But the more so, the more violent the dragon's heart is. Fighting spirits have also been motivated. It can be said that the more violent the power of eternal life, the more excited Longfei's heart is. Even if this power can't be controlled now, don't forget that he is the eternal life. It is the master of the name of eternal life. Since there is this layer of identity, Longfei believes that controlling the power of eternal life is only a matter of time. In an instant, Long Fei gnawed his teeth and decided to re-enter the sea. There is no way, only the soldiers are in danger, and the eternal life, Lao Tzu will look at you, what changes have been made in the end. Long Fei's heart whispered, and the spirit of the soul sank, once again into the depths of the sea. Cool. The innocent sea passes through, and the spirit of Long Fei goes all the way down to the deepest point of eternal life. The closer you are, the more you can feel the raging power of eternal life. It is as if the sea of knowledge has been filled with the power of eternal life. Everywhere is the breath of eternal power. It is Long Fei, who feels that their souls are somewhat oppressive, as if they are struggling in front of this power, as long as they are overwhelmed in a moment. No, Lao's knowledge of the sea can make you a master. Give me a drive. The spirit of Long Fei is shocked. A dragon swayed above the soul, and then, the dragon flew up against the sky, and the hands directly plucked the power of eternal life, step by step toward the eternal life. Slowly, the eternal life also appeared in front of Long Fei. The face of Long Fei is also a change at this time. In front of his eyes, eternal life cover was opened. The raging power of eternal life is vented from this longevity. Just like a portal to hell, it has been opened and is out of control. The spirit of Long Fei began to sway at this time, drifting in the sea of his own knowledge, and gradually wrapped up by this raging eternal power. Even if Long Fei struggles, it is useless. It seems that in the face of this power, the soul of Long Fei cannot be controlled. At this time, Long Fei only felt that his soul seemed to be exploding. Under the infusion of eternal power, the whole soul became inflated. Even Long Fei can clearly feel that his current Shouyuan has also been rocket-like speed soaring, and several breathing time has already added back to the longevity that was previously swallowed by Zhong Tai Ling Xiu. However, it did not end, but it continued to soar. No, if I go on like this, my soul can't carry so many Shouyuan. Must stop. Otherwise, I am afraid that my soul will be directly blasted by the power of eternal life. Long Fei's mind flies and wants to find ways to end this raging eternal power. But now that he is a state of spirit, he can only use the power of the soul. And in the face of this eternal life, the system cannot be activated, and cannot be contacted. It can be said that the eternal life is the only existence of the system that cannot actively interfere. In fact, this is also true. At this point, the entire system is constantly experiencing high-risk warnings. It's just that Long Fei in this state can't hear it. Similarly, in the Supreme, in a control room, a young man suddenly looked confused and looked at a page that was flashing red code at this time, and his expression was sluggish. Impossible, what is this power? Even the system has lost control. The voice of the young man revealed incomparably shocked, unbelievable. At this time, a middle-aged man also came in and looked dignified. What happened? The middle-aged man asked quietly. I don't know, the host of this system, now I don't know what is going on. The power of the soul suddenly surges, and it has already reached the system. And, this power, even the system cannot be controlled. Young people said. How could this be? Is it the former market? No, this power has been integrated into his body. It should not affect the spirit. There is no such power in the world. Middle-aged man tightened, seems to think urgently. Suddenly, the middle-aged man must have taken his hands and slammed it. I know, if there is really any power, it must be the kind of power that floats in the universe and where the universe opens up. And, this power is also what the Promised Temple has been looking for. They have planted countless planes, and they want to find this power to target our supreme plane. If it is really this kind of power, I am afraid it is difficult. The middle-aged man said. Chapter 4576. Chapter 4576. For a time, the whole room became very serious. After the middle-aged man finished speaking, his breathing became extremely heavy. But the young people are shocked and suspicious. Not at all, although Long Fei, he is amazing, but it is absolutely impossible to get that kind of power, the young man said. Nobody can say this kind of thing. However, the most important thing is to help him get out of trouble. Right, to what extent is he going to the system now? Asked the middle-aged. Now the system is restarted. In the middle of running, it should be that after he breaks through this world, the system wizard will recover and directly evolve to the strongest sequence, the young man said. Let's wake up directly. At this time, only the system can help him. The middle-aged man said quietly. The young man, stunned and immediately surprised, yes. Should bear the sound, the middle-aged people directly began to operate, and smashed the operation on the keyboard. The picture turns and knows the sea. At this time, Longfei's consciousness is becoming more and more vague, and the endless power of eternal life. At this time, for him, it is no longer a kind of fuse, but a sharp edge. A sharp knife that can take his life at any time. No, you can't stun. Otherwise, there must be no hope. Dragon Batien, I know that you have been paying back, now you can't come out at this time? Do you want to watch Laozi die? Longfei screamed in his heart. Since the system is no longer able to contact, the only hope is that the dragon is over. However, what Longfei unexpectedly did was. At this moment, Longbation seems to be really dispelling, and there is no reaction at all. Dragon Batien, I am doing your ancestors. You are not very happy to jump in the air. Are you hiding now to have a grandson? Last time, did you still say that Laozi is a waste? Now you give me out and tell Laozi, what is no waste? Longfei directly roared. As a result, there is still no response. There is no movement at all. For a time, in the heart of Longfei, the last touch of hope was also washed away. However, let Longfei sit still and be more uncomfortable than killing Longfei directly. Eternal life. What is eternal life in eternal life? Since I am the Lord of eternal life, why can't I control the power of this eternal life? What is the end? What is the law of breaking the deal? Longfei's heart is urgent and violent. It is useless, no matter what, no matter how long the spirit of Longfei is resisting, the power of eternal life still has no stop, and the madness generally flows into the soul of Longfei. Under the impact of this power, Longfei is a momentary instinctual blockade, and even the last consciousness disappears. At this time, outside this space, the whole sky changed again. The endless thunder is overwhelming, like a city, it is unstoppable. In an instant, when the endless darkness comes, the whole piece of void is wrapped. The white deer, Tianzhu, and other people changed their minds and quickly stopped in front of the night. Is the Lord of the Immortal, is this breath coming from Kang? Asked Bai Lu, and his eyes were dignified. The sky at the moment is extremely repressed. An invisible pressure has fallen from the void. It is like saying that it is a wrath of the sky, and it is necessary to come to endless punishment. No, it should be the perception of the number of days. My existence makes the number of days feel terrified, so it will produce a change. Night Child said faintly. In the dawn, there was a flash of killing. Master, can't you? You are the Lord of Xianting, should the number of days be on your side? Why did you come back? The number of days will be rejected for you. Scorpio exclaimed, jumping to the shoulders of the knight, and said. Because in the number of days, I have fallen. But now, when I return to my birth, it is against the number of days. Do you think that he can tolerate the existence of the number of days? Night Child smiled and asked. However, her performance is indifferent, and she cannot suppress the unwillingness and hate in her words. Yes, the number of days is originally in her. The number of days in the past is just a kind of Taoist and rational, and the law. And she is the master of Xianting, controlling the mainland of the immortal, repairing it to the top. Even the number of days is just a force for her coordination of the world of the continent. However, what surprised her was that the number of days was used by Kang, and the birth of the day was generated as a force to control the sentient beings. Even using this power, the nightmare was smothered. At that time, the Night Child really realized the terrible number of days. Even her, in the face of that power, there is no struggle. It is precisely because of this that she was in the Xianting before. She will continue to discourage Longfei. Now, after returning, I once again perceive the breath of the day. How can she not move in her heart? How can I not be angry? What should I do? Now the kid is still in retreat, and the number of days is so strong. Scorpio is flustered, and he knows the same about the number of days. Although he did not see the final battle, He did not know how to shoot the night to suppress the night. But I can also perceive that the real day is dim and dark, and the end is a robbery. In short, it is extremely scary. Now, after so many years, the number of days has been set to be more stable, and Kang is bound to be more powerful, so my heart is inexplicably worried. Shut up, you remember, he is my man. To him, you have to be more respectful than me. As for the number of days, even if it is coming, don't even think about moving my man. If he keeps me back, I will be exhausted and I will inevitably protect him. Night Child Mai said, firm and full of hegemony. It seems that as long as it can threaten the power of Longfei, she will destroy everything if she tries her best. For a time, the sky was dumb. Mueni stood in the same place. And the white deer and Genma, etc., are solemn, waiting for the whole body to wait for a battle. Of course, for all of this, Longfei, who is retreating in a certain space, knows nothing about it. At this time, Longfei, deeply trapped in the sea, has no eyes and has lost all his feelings. But at this time, in the sea of knowledge filled with the power of endless eternal life, suddenly burst into a light. It seems that some kind of portal was gently pushed open. In the blink of an eye, the whole sea of Longfei was fascinated. What is even more amazing is that with the appearance of this light, the eternal power in the whole sea of knowledge is instantly diluted. Brush it. The light of the road flashed, and the power of eternal life also screamed away. The dragon spirit's soul is only gradually emerging. Master, Master, wake up, no longer wake up, your consciousness will sink. At this time, a light voice appeared. Then, a figure came to Longfei and whispered. And Longfei, the soul of Shen Yu, slowly opened his eyes after hearing the sound. Master, you wake up. Chapter 4578. Chapter 4578. Longfei opened his eyes and looked at a small Luoli in front of him, his eyes full of mistakes. However, the next moment, a while in the eyes of Longfei. I am Cao, the system sister. You are a system girl? Longfei repeatedly asked two questions. Some could not believe it. Hey, Master, people just wake up and come over, you don't know? Don't you forget that the last time people made a variety of transformations? It's so shy. The system showed a shy expression, and the hands were still playing with the skirt. This time, directly to Longfei. This temptation is simply unstoppable. Professional short skirt Luoli face, girl Jiao Yu sister voice. It is simply a fatal temptation for men. It can be said that this kind of direct combination of all men's illusions, but also without any coordination, perfect for each of the advantages of the performance. For a time, Longfei's eyes were inseparable from the system sister. Master, don't look at people with this kind of eyes, what do you think in your heart? But everyone is clear. The system sister grinned. Unrelentingly demolition of Longfei. Cough. Accident, accident. Longfei's old face is red, some embarrassed. When I thought about it, I quickly said, you still have a normal form. Then, Longfei thought of a move, the system sister directly changed, turned into a professional all-dress. Like the assistants on Earth, it is still full of charm and seductiveness. Longfei's heart is in the belly, and he feels that the creator of the system must be the same as his predecessor. Otherwise, how can we create such a systemic brain? However, now that Longfei has not thought so much about it, even if it is a big animal, Longfei will never allow himself to make any unethical thoughts about a virtual character. Fortunately, the systemic brain after the transformation has not been so deadly, so that Longfei can settle down. Then, Longfei's eyes began to patrol the scene in front of him. For a moment, Longfei suddenly stunned. System sister, this is my knowledge of the sea. Longfei exclaimed. Before the power of eternal life engulfed him, he remembered clearly, even tried his best, and failed to break the shackles of eternal power, and then fell into a coma. If you are not a system girl, I am afraid that I will not wake up. Thinking of this, Longfei asked again. Yes, the system sister, isn't the system unable to intervene in this power? How did you come to my knowledge of the sea? This is the place where Longfei is surprised. Master, have you forgotten that your energy has been enough to recover before? I have recovered. I feel that your situation is very dangerous after the recovery, so directly changed the system and directly promoted the system to the highest sequence. Then, I can come in and find you here. The system sister said. The highest sequence. The system has been upgraded. Longfei was shocked and quickly began to view. System, Smart Invincible System, highest sequence. System function, everything is updated by the brain according to the player's situation. The system is updated as follows. 1. The player has been upgraded to a level before inheritance, but the upgrade experience and other attribute changes. 2. Power integration, useless skills directly into skill points, upgrade skills. 3. The system tasks are retained, and there are some adjustments, rewards change. Longfei looked at the various systems after the system update, and he took a long breath. After all, it has now been upgraded to a super successful 9-day sky. If the system is upgraded and then repaired to 0, it will be awkward. Of course, there are system sisters, and Longfei is not worried about the speed after the rebuilding. However, the current crisis, not to mention the eternal life, and the outside of the sky and the number of days, are close to the crisis. If this time is not finished, everything has not been done. Then, Longfei continued to view the system tasks. The current player holds the mission Mainline Mission, Guardian Mission. Task level, SSSSSSSSSS level. Time, half a year. Task goal, to become a guardian and to resolve the crisis of the ancient world. Reward, +1 realm, 1 special reward for the supreme level, reward the guardian power, control the ancient world. Task punishment, death. Longfei's mind was spinning rapidly, watching the changes in the mission after the system was updated, and he was pleasantly surprised. In particular, the repair of a realm is a reward, and it makes Longfei excited. Too strong. It's just violent, and it's flying up. For example, now that Longfei is a super large 8-layer, if you complete the task, you will directly be in a big realm, fearing that you can directly skip the level of God-given esteem and reach a peak state. System sister, to force, no wonder the system is the highest sequence, the rewards are so special. Longfei could not help but say. Then, Longfei's line of sight shifted again and looked at another task. Square Task 1, Guarding the Big Sun. Task level, SSS level. Time, half a year. Task goal, to get the heart of the Big Sun goddess, and give birth to a child, become the king of the Great Wall. Description, the player's son can get 70% of the player's strength, the system automatically matches the power, is responsible for guarding the Great World, and, in this process, players can't intervene. Task reward, the seal of the king. Task punishment, failure, death. Looking at it, Longfei has been forced, and his eyes are full of anger. System girl, can you give me an explanation? You can let me hook up a sister in half a year, but what happened to the birth of a child? Can you tell me, who can make a child in half a year? Longfei's heart is extremely depressed. This task is simply a fantasy. Master, don't be angry first. You are already so powerful. Don't you know that there is a means called a deity? It is natural to have such a task. Reassured, I am there. The system sister said quickly, for fear of flying away. Cool. Longfei took a deep breath and listened to the explanation of the system sister. The mood was relaxed. Sacred tires? Is it true that Laozi has to create a sun who is against the sky? Newbie. Sure enough, Long handsome, even the system must be soft to me. This Nima is to make a baby. Dayang goddess. Hey, Laro Tsu has to be fixed. Longfei turned to worry, and his heart was obsessed with it. Then, look at the tasks below. Square Task 2, capture the number of days, and kill the world. Task level, SSS level. Task time, 2 months. Task reward, Jiewang Yujian, especially for rewards once. Task failure, death. This is the third system task and a recent mission of Longfei. Moreover, there is basically no change in this task, so Longfei does not care much. Chapter 4579. Chapter 4579. Longfei fell into silence. Not to believe, but not to believe. Thoroughly shocked. The power of eternal life is comparable to the system. The impact of this sentence on Longfei is even stronger than the shock of the system girl, the shock brought by the system upgrade. From the beginning to the end, starting from the power of Longfei to get the system, Longfei has always believed that the system is the most powerful existence, no one. Otherwise, the system is located, it cannot be called the supreme plane. However, now I heard from the mouth of the system sister, the power of eternal life is comparable to the system, and the heart is directly touched. System girl, is there such an exaggeration as you said? But in this case, why does this power appear in that plane? Longfei tentatively asked. Still can't believe it. Yes, this is the system setting, it is passed directly to me, let me tell the owner. So, the master can rest assured that the master's invincible power, this power is essential. Therefore, I will definitely help the master to take this power. The system sister firmly said, his eyes are extremely firm. With this set of all professional wear, it seems a bit dignified. This time, it was the turn of Longfei to be shocked. System program? For a moment, Longfei associates with the developers of the system. In an instant, Longfei's eyes became a bit bleak. The feeling of being manipulated before was reappeared. For a moment, Longfei double fists and a hand, the body exudes a faint chill, even though it is only the body of the soul, but also an infinite murder. At this time, the system brains can naturally feel that the eyes are extremely humanized, and they become pitiful and extremely wronged. Master, is what I did wrong, said the system sister. No, it's not your business. It's just that I don't like the feeling of being controlled. It seems that my every move is just under the eyes of others. Longfei said. The tone is extremely cold. Master, in fact, it is not as bad as you think. The system is set there. I feel that there is nothing malicious. Just pay attention to your growth. The system sister said. No, I just want to go by myself, Longfei said directly. This is Longfei. It has always been this kind of personality. I am self-proclaimed. No matter who I am, I cannot control his fate. The system wizard is also no longer talking. Only the dragon flies, the silence of the cold, I don't know what to think about. After a few moments, Longfei regained his gaze and said naturally, System sister, now I still want to go back, I am afraid that the delay will be too long, what will happen? Longfei said. Now, in the face of the level behind the system, I really can't do anything about it. Only continue to go on, until you grow up to the level of standing in front of the other party, you are qualified to speak. Now, thinking more, it will not help. Good master, but now, your spirit becomes too strong, and it may take a little time to integrate the flesh. The system sister said, then turned and pulled Longfei toward the portal that had come in before, stepping in. Outside the fairy court. The white deer and other people are cautious, and they look back and forth at the void, for fear of any clues. And the night child is charming, then one person is empty and bears the sky. If Longfei is here, watching the night under this state will be very happy. Because, at this time, the night child is charming, it is a living female emperor. The British air is pressing, and the world is on the horizon. At this moment, she is between the heavens and the earth, and she is the only tyrant. Ups and downs, all in control. But at this time, the night child suddenly looked up, looked at the incomparably darkness of the sky, the breath of the eyes changed, he came. An understatement of 3 words. As if I had been waiting for the moment, there was no mood swing. And the white deer and the Scorpio, etc., are all changing. However, they still have their own responsibilities, and they immediately came to the void and blocked them in front of the night. Let's go back. Since Kang has arrived, now you can't stop it. Night child said. Master, no, you have just returned, even if you want to restore your strength, you need time. Now I have recovered my strength, even if it is not a rival, I can hold on for a while. Maybe the Lord will go out at the time, and there is hope in everything. Scorpio said. It's true that the power of Scorpio has revived under the power of the night. However, for the words of the night child, but they do not dare to disobey, not only do not dare to disrespect the dragonfly, but directly called the main public. Yes, Whether it is because of the owner or because of my identity, I have no reason to take a step back. Dad, you can rest assured that even if you die, I will die in front of you," said the white deer, a glimpse, look to the void. At this time, Genma and Longfei also jumped to the void. The kid is dare to fight hard, and Lao Tzu has nothing to dare. Master, you can rest assured, no matter who you are, when the master returns, you must fix it. Genma said, the thunder swayed, seemingly, and the endless darkness above the void connected, the thunder spread directly thousands of miles. Long Fei did not say a word, but his eyes have already indicated his attitude. He won't back. But the night child charms but shook his head slightly. At this time, the sky suddenly shocked. A white mangling whizzed past, stunned the endless void, and finally appeared directly in front of several people. Boom! When the figure just arrived, the pressure of a tremor world came along. Hey! For a moment, the 4 white deer vomited directly to the blood and were crushed directly from the void. Hey! Pulling out a deep pit directly on the ground, and then did not even have the strength to get up, and fell to the ground directly. Waste things, I hope this kind of thing to obstruct my seat. Don't you think it's ridiculous? The stalking is high, and he looks disdainful. In his eyes, the white deer and other people are simply vulnerable, and even the qualifications for him to shoot are not, even the interest of not even looking at it. Dog stuff. You are a stupid old hybrid. When you reversed your master, you dare to come now? Don't you be killed by the owner. Scorpio resisted the pain, constantly struggling, and seemed to want to transform, and once again resisted for the night. However, it is useless at all. Even the more he struggled, the more the pressure of Kang was targeted. Kill me. Do you think it is possible? Now you are like an ant in front of me, you can pinch it to death. As for your master, but just returned, even if you restored your previous strength, how can you? And, my strength is not what you can imagine. The mystery of the days has been combined with my strength. Do you think that your master is still qualified to fight in front of me? Hey, therefore, your return is a joke in front of me, but it is only killing me once. But this time, I will let you never live. Kang eyes tweeted, looking at the night, and said coldly. Chapter 4580. Chapter 4580. A trick to crush, crazy and arrogant. This time, he is well prepared. Moreover, for this day, he has been preparing for countless years, in order to eliminate it in one fell swoop and completely relieve the worries. Especially now, when he saw the night child after returning, he was only fascinated by the celestial beings, and his eyes became violent and contemptuous. As if everything is in his control. Mania. Moon, how, now the courage to speak is gone. Kang cold and open. The night child looks fascinated, but he does not say a word. As for the name of the moon, it is the title of his million years ago. More than nothing, between you and me, I was destined to have this battle. Night child said. Oh, it's a good talk, and there's more to say, but it's the pity for you, so you can live more. As for now, it is time to settle everything. The heavy voice, the voice gradually solidified in the void. A gown of a pale color, wrapped his body tightly, is extremely thin. But under the thin body, there is a suffocating energy. Where you are, it is a taboo. Even if you look at it more, you will be self-defeating and you will not be qualified to look at it. Brush it. At this time, the white deer and other people even felt a kind of pressure from the soul, swept away. It seems that because of the hostility to Kang, it has been rejected by the heavens and the earth, to annihilate them. But at this moment, the night child is fascinated. The body was shaken, and the sleeves were swaying, floating in the void of 9 days, and the pressure of Kang was directly erased. This is a battle between you and me. If you are there, you can't move them. The night child said coldly. One word and one word, facing the sky. Ha ha ha, a battle between you and me. However, do you really think that you still have room for resistance? Impossible, I have control of the number of days. The number of days is force, move with me. Among the number of days, is a thief, when it is extinguished. Cried aloud. Immediately, the big hand moves and directly presses down. Booming. Rolling the thunder, under the dark sky, open it. The power of the annihilation of the emptiness of the air broke out and swept across. The night of the child's face changed, and between them turned, a blue lotus appeared directly in the hand, and the power of infinity created from it. Boom! Infinite, the green lotus blossoms. 24 products made Qinglian rushing to the sky, shining bright light. Hey! The palm of Kang finally fell, and the heavy bombardment was above the creation of Qinglian. Boom! The power of annihilation broke out directly and roared. This time, it is even more terrifying than the real battle caused by the previous dragonfly. At this time, 24 products created Qinglian to open the sky, forming a huge cyan aura, filled with the void. The power of creation is like a sharp blade, whistling away, attacking Kang. However, the means of Kang are equally horrible. On top of a pair of big hands, countless mysterious runes flash, as if they are arranged one after another. They can burst out of a force, directly to the night of the child's creation attack, turned into nothing. For a time, the two were deadlocked. I can't think of it. When you come back again, you have actually cultivated this kind of power. You have to say that it is really a match. It's a pity that in the face of the power of the day, all struggles are in vain. This seat is to see you, how long can it last? Said the sky. In the hands of a turn, countless spots of light change again. Then suddenly slammed. Rumble. The power of Kang suddenly surged, and it was directly crushed down, and the power of creation was drowned in an instant. Hey! It is also a blink of an eye. The Qingguang of the Qinglian, directly defeated by the power of countless days, collapsed into the void, turned into nothingness. The body of the night is more shocked by this force, violently retreating a few miles. You have completely controlled the number of days. The eyes are also full of helplessness. The most fundamental reason she wants to fight is because of the power of control. Because the power of this creation is the accumulation of his third life, it is no longer within the number of days. However, this time, it was the real shock in the night. The power of his own creation was so vulnerable in the face of Kang. She didn't think about this result. Ha ha ha, do you see it? But, you think too much, not that I completely control the number of days, but that I have been incarnation days. I am the number of days is me. So, in this world of universality, all existence is under my control. Do you think that you can control a force beyond the days of detachment to be able to compete against me? Can you get rid of the number of days? Impossible. This time, this seat wants you to completely disappear. The sound of Kang was cold, and the fists were gripped, and then fell sharply. Then, above the void, a loud explosion broke out. I saw 24 products for the creation of Qinglian, and the 3 students were taken away. And the night child is also squirting a blood, and his face becomes very pale. No. Master. The sky screamed, and the blue body began to change, and the eyes became scarlet, like a bloodthirsty wolf. Then the next moment, the body of Scorpio suddenly increased sharply, and it suddenly rose to the sky. Break, my master! I have swallowed you. The body of Tianmian is huge. It's also very incomparable. Directly roaring, opening the blood basin to devour the sky. However, there is no slight change in Kang's face. Even the extremely disdainful cold snorted. A beast. Do you dare to shoot me? Scorpio. Oh, don't forget, this is the day. Sangyo said, then raised his hand directly, and a slap in the face. Rumble. Rumble. In a flash, the body of Scorpio was directly returned to its original shape, rolling over the void, narrowing down in a circle, and finally directly transforming into a cat of ordinary size, falling heavily on the ground and dying. Scorpio. The night child screamed with excitement, and his eyes were unmatched, and he looked at the sky. Oh, is it angry? But it's useless. Today is more than you, even everyone who is present will be annihilated. Under the number of days, you have no need to exist. Now, let's die for this seat. Said, the figure of Kang disappeared directly, turned into a little light and shadow, directly into the void. Rumble. The next moment, the whole sky began to change, as if to collapse, and crushed down. For a moment, the white deer, the horse, and the Longfei were all screaming. As if in the face of this power, humble to the extreme. Not to mention rebellion, even the qualifications faced. Even if it is night, it is extremely difficult to manipulate the Qinglian again. However, in front of this incarnation of the sky, it seems extremely powerless. The entire Qinglian once again began to break, as if the next moment, it will burst. Chapter 4581. Chapter 4581. The crisis is imminent. It can be said that the current form has reached the limit of extreme danger. Under the entire sky, Kang is already invincible. All the resistance in front of him is insignificant. Even if it is night, it is a strong return at this time, and it is impossible to compete with the power of creation. At this time, a few bursts of sound appeared. I saw the creation of Qinglian directly a product, under the violent crushing, bursting instantly. Puff! In the night, Meiku squirted a blood arrow, and the figure gradually curved. Can't help. I can't help it at all. In an instant, the night is like a grey. In the bottom of my eyes, there is also a deep sorrow. She is not afraid of death, but she is not willing to die like this. Longfei paid too much to protect him from returning. But now that Longfei is still in retreat, she can't hold on for Longfei more time. If she is so dead, Longfei's efforts will not be worth it. Thinking of this, in the eyes of the night child, the hatred is spewing out. No, I must hold on. Otherwise, it will inevitably affect Longfei. In any case, even if I use my life to change, I must leave it to you. The night child Meiqiang endured the pressure, watching the sky falling from the sky, silver teeth bite, the power of creation, explosion. The night child Mai Jiao said. Immediately after the next moment, the remaining 16 creations of Qinglian blew themselves. The power of the sky is directly recoiled at this moment. Boom! All of a sudden, the pressure on the sky suddenly collapsed. Regained a bit of clarity. The figure that was able to reappear at this time. Hey! The blast exploded a few steps, and the body smell became a bit confusing. It seems that he never thought about it. Even the night singer had such great strength, and even said that he blew himself. Moon, you are really a great courage. If I have not guessed wrong, you should be for the dragon to fly that kid. I want to do my best to stop my steps. But, do you think this will be useful? Said with anger. Obviously, under the power of the night, he was also deeply injured, so he was extremely angry. It's useless, I have to try it before I know it. Night Child said. The tone was extremely cold. She has made up her mind and will not regress anyway. Try. Why do you try? Before you have the power beyond this number of days to compete with me, what else do you have now? Get your own way. Days, wind and thunder, kill. The face was cold, and the hands moved, and countless stars began to turn in their hands. And as the starlight turns, the whole sky was empty, and the breath was once again violent. The wind is rising, the fire is rising, and the endless thunder is also rushing. Moreover, this power is different from ordinary. Very violent. Everywhere the squally winds pass, everything is turned into nothingness. The place where the flames burned, everything was directly turned into powder. There is also the point where the thunder landed, and the momentary voids burst. It can be said that this power is inexhaustible. Basic and unusual fires and other means are not at one level. It is not too much to say that the top of the power is reached. At night, the eyes became extremely deep. Inadvertently, the eyes look at a certain void, and the color of grief is gradually surging. Longfei, I am sorry. Wasting your pains, but I want to disappoint you. But I will remember what you said, I am your woman. So, before I die, I won't let anyone hurt you. The night child's eyes are full of tenderness and look at a direction other than the void. But this tenderness is filled with endless sadness. It seems that it is like screening, endless grief, and endless. However, the next moment, the night child winks and looks up, suddenly looked up, bones, burning. The night child is sultry and drinking, directly burning the bones of the sky. Boom. For a moment, Wanzhong Shuangguang broke out directly in the night of Maisie, and slammed into the void. At this time, in a certain space, Longfei is pulling his own soul, according to the guidance of the System Sister, step by step to merge the body. After all, as the System Sister said, his current power of the soul is too strong. The strength of the flesh has not kept pace, there is a feeling of mismatch. Therefore, the process of integration is extremely slow. Even if Longfei is in a hurry, he is also anxious and can't control the process of integration. Yes, at this time, a touch of cone pain suddenly swept over the soul of Longfei. In an instant, a kind of pain that seems to smash the soul, swept through, and the process of the integration of Longfei was once again blocked. "Master, what's wrong with you?" The voice of the System Sister appeared, full of anxiety. "I don't know, I just feel the pain in the soul," Longfei said hard. Both of them are red with money. This feeling is even more worrying for Longfei. Because of this feeling, I am too familiar. When the little Invincible was demonized by the Comet Demon World, Longfei gave telepathy more than once. It is the same now. "Master, we must hold back, and we are still converging. No matter what happens, we can use the power after the integration is completed. Otherwise, we will lose weight." The System Sister persuaded again. "No, I can't stand it. I have a feeling that something is unpredictable outside. So, the System Sister must find a way, let me return to myself as soon as possible. Otherwise, I will not forgive myself for the rest of my life," Longfei said with red eyes, almost in a pleading tone. This is also the first time that he has shown his vulnerability in front of the system. This is him, he practiced all his life, even if he suffered more hardships, he was also guardian. If he is late, causing unacceptable consequences, Longfei will not forgive himself for the rest of his life. "Well, Master, now there is a way to let you go back first," said the System Sister. Longfei Ishi quickly said, "What way?" "Master, this way has a lot of risks, I suggest you still don't try it." The System Sister suddenly had some self-blame, weak and weak. "No matter how much risk, you have to do it now." "I can't wait," Longfei said. I did not tell the sister more opportunities at all, and directly issued instructions. The System Sister sighed and was helpless. Longfei has already issued an order, and she must not be disobedient. Directly manipulated in one mind. In an instant, the dragon spirit soul once again moved into the depths of the sea under the traction of the System Sister. What is even more terrifying is that the system elves come directly to the eternal life with the soul of Longfei. Then, the soul of Longfei is buried directly into it. Chapter 4582. Chapter 4582. Bang! The eternal life is suddenly closed. Immediately, as if the merits were complete, slowly rising out of the dragon and the sea, the portal that was built through the system girl disappeared instantly. At this time, in the outside world, the light of the sky is escaping from the body of the night. Instantly shield half of the sky and directly isolate the power that Kang has exhibited from the void. In the hands of the night child, a piece of pure white jade bone is burning constantly. Moreover, every burning point, the face of the night child is more pale. "Oh, don't continue. You go, with your strength, leaving here is definitely not a problem." At this time, because the night of the child burned the bones of the sky, the attack of Kang was resisted, and they also proudly recovered a few points. But just as soon as I was awake, I saw that the night child was fighting for a fight. The anger in the heart broke out directly. However, more is the torment of heartbreaking. Because in the face of this power, their cultivation is simply weak and unrelenting. At this time, Genma and Longfei also awakened. Looking at the night child who constantly burns his strength in the void, his eyes are also sorrowful. "Master, don't care about us. Being able to follow the Master to the present, it is enough to see such a magnificent world. We die without regrets, but the mother, you must live," Genma shouted. Now, he has already accepted his life. The result is that life is dead and it is no longer important. However, the night child is a woman of Longfei, they must not watch the accident. Moreover, it is still because of their affairs. Otherwise, Don't say it is Longfei, that is, they will not forgive themselves. Plus, the current battle is too wrong. It was completely shackled by Kang. Without any backhand power, they are dried up. This result makes their hearts have been suppressed to the extreme. This kind of embarrassment and stealing, being protected by the Night Child, is a torture for them. Therefore, the first thing after they recovered is to let the Night Child give up and leave alone. However, the Night Child is completely ignoring them. The eyebrows are as original, indifferent, with a decisive decision. Like, it is desperate. Yes, it can be said that the Knight of the Night is just desperate. It is to use your own life to gain time for Longfei. She didn't know how Longfei was in the end, but she knew that if she could hold on for a minute, Longfei would have more hope. So now, she can't back down at all. And Kang, obviously lost patience at this time. Looking at the Knight of the Burning Bones, the smile on his face is more and more hazy. Hey, burn the bones of the moon. Moon Fairy, you are a self-destructive road. Originally, you are leaving now, maybe there is still a chance. But now, the bones of the sky have burned, it is equivalent to saying that there is no shadow of yours within the number of days. Ha ha ha, the Night Child is charming, since this is the case, I have no scruples. Days, annihilation of the odds. I screamed in anger and laughed wildly. The next moment, the look of the sky changed. Immediately after the entire sky, there is a breath of infinite mystery. Invisible, endless. However, above the entire sky, there is a direct willingness to overwhelm the sentient beings, and a heavy pressure. Everything collapses. Even the celestial bones of the Night Child's hands are squeaking at this moment. Then, a crack appeared on it. And the endless light of the bones of the sky is also bursting at this moment. Puff. The figure of the Night Child is completely lost. At this moment, the support is completely lost. Like the rootless duckweed, it slowly falls from the void. Ha ha ha, is that all right? At the end of the matter, I know that this game, the ultimate winner can only be me. Cried aloud. At this level, they have only one result since they started fighting. That is life and death. Either live or die. It is absolutely impossible to have a second result. Especially between the night and the sky, it can be said that it is the cause and effect of hundreds of thousands of years. Therefore, from the beginning, Kang knows that the Night Child will never retreat. In other words, everything he did was to step by step and let the Night Child be completely determined to fight. Until I saw the Night of the Child burning the bones. The purpose of Kang has been achieved. Now, watching the body of the Night Child fall from the void, the eyes of Kang are full of embarrassment, and immediately point out, control the power of the day, to completely obliterate the Night Child. Rumble. In an instant, one finger turned across the sky, directly penetrated the endless obstacles, and forced the night to go. It is conceivable that if this blow falls, the Night Child will never have the possibility of surviving. Kang's face is full of expectations, and he is already waiting for this finger to fall. The Knight's eyes are fascinating, and he has become a whole piece of the mainland, the real master of control, and there will be no any change. Yes, but for a second. The smile on the face of the face disappeared directly. Instantly freeze. It has become extremely embarrassing. I saw that a figure fluttered from the void, and the night body was caught, and then the hand was raised immediately, and the direct finger of Kang was directly pressed to block the void. Impossible, this is impossible, the bones are gone, I am orthodox, under the number of days, who can stop? Can't believe it. Especially now, his own power has been resisted by a hand that is easy to lift. It is even more shocking to him. Among the consciousness of talent, the only thing that can compete with oneself is the Night Child. I don't believe that there will be other people who can counter their strength. But being beaten, one hand is shattered by one's own strength. This is one of them. More importantly, the emergence of this person directly broke his plan. For him, this is absolutely not allowed. As soon as I read this, the gaze turned and the direction of the singer came, and said coldly, "Who are you? Dare to break my business?" Kang eyes must ask. However, this sudden appearance is simply ignored, but the eyes are once again looking at the void. Come out, it's the end of the matter, it's time to count the general ledger. The figure said faintly. A green shirt, has been dancing with the wind, long hair volley, it is like blood, in this moment become scarlet. At this time, outside the void, once again fell on a figure, looked at the knight with a dignified look, and did not send the knight to catch the knight, and then slowly put it on the ground, waiting at peace. At the same time, the people looked down at the knight and looked at the knight, and immediately sneaked in the eyes, and a raging anger burst out from their eyes. You, asterisk 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 asterisk. A heavy sigh, the people said directly. Chapter 4583. Chapter 4583. The people are faint and open, cold and ruthless. I don't know why, I saw that the night child is seriously hurting the coma at this moment, and his killing will never stop. It is like saying that the night child is his extremely important person. Seeing that the knight was so beautifully hurt, he directly touched his heart. Even the woman who came with him on the 96th was a suspicious-looking man. Because this is also the first time, she saw the emotional changes of the man in front of her eyes. At this time, under the void, a figure climbed up hard, watching the green shirt that suddenly appeared, and his face finally changed. You finally came. In any case, be sure to protect this woman. This woman is extremely important to him. Long Fei looked excitedly at the green shirt man who appeared in front of him and said with dignity, "Well, so, she is also the woman of the deity," said the man in the green shirt. As soon as this statement is made, his identity has already come to the fore. Yes, he is the avatar of Long Fei. Yes, he is now retreating. It should be what happened. Fortunately, you have appeared. Long Fei is full of hope and heavy. And the green shirt is separated. At this moment is also a turn of the eye, the direction of the hope, is the space opened before Long Fei retreat. The eyes are dignified. At this time, Kang also guessed the identity of the green shirt, and the surprise on his face suddenly disappeared. The thick killings reappeared. The deity? You are just the avatar of the kid. Cold and cold, his eyes also looked at the whereabouts of Long Fei, the killing of one body, directly through the sky. Before, when the night child was in love, he already knew about Long Fei's retreat. Therefore, Dragonfly was not put in the eyes at all. However, I did not expect that Long Fei did not appear, but the avatar actually appeared at this moment. Moreover, he directly killed his plan. Then, Kang's gaze looked at the woman who appeared with Long Fei. Is it you? The goddess of the great sun? I can't think of the contraction for so many years. You are finally willing to appear. But just right, you don't have to live today, said the face. Kang, I didn't even think about it. One of the mysterious wars in the world of Wanyan has always had such a history. However, since I have already appeared, it should be a full stop. At the beginning, your design introduced me to this world of fairy tales, and wanted to use the power of this number to suppress me. It is a pity that you can't guess that I will be saved, said the great sun ***** girl. If Long Fei is here, I will feel the mistakes. You may even wonder if you are a slut. At the beginning of the world of Yangshan, his own soul was separated, and he came to Hongyu, the princess of the holy court. Nowadays, my own avatar is even more powerful, and I am directly with the big sun goddess. Oh, I can't think of it. Under the days of the fairy, there are no things that I can't think of under the number of days. The reason why this seat did not take the initiative to find you, wait for today, for the sake of once and for all, to hide all of you who are hiding in the darkness. In the right days, said coldly and coldly. The breath of the body has become more fierce. At this time, Long Fei is taking a step forward. You don't have to step in this battle. This war belongs only to the deity. When the deity mother saved you, it was paving the way for today. So you should protect them first, and leave the rest to me, said the avatar. The anger is burning, but I still think about it in my dragon. At this point, everything is already clear. Whether it is an avatar, or a big sun goddess, it has already met with Long Fei's mother, the sorcerer, and even the big young goddess, is the rescue of Long Fei's mother. If Long Fei knows everything, he will be very surprised. Because of my mother, the layout is too big, and even some of the power of the system can be included, it is terrible. The big sun goddess nodded slightly, dignified. Well, I will protect them until your deity returns. But if your deity does not appear, I will take them away and return to the world, and then I will not blame me. Do not follow the will of that person, said the great sun goddess. After that, just step out of the step, and then draw a hand, directly into the enchantment, will be surrounded by white deer and others. The dragon's avatar is reversed and slightly low. Reassure, there is no way to block the deity between the heavens and the earth. Longfei himself said, and then looked up and looked at Kang. Step out and push the palm directly. Hey! Rumble! Rumble! A palm is empty, and it is very incomparable. This palm, no extra power, simple violent, without any bells and whistles, is the purest power. However, this palm seems to contain the essence of the power of the world, indestructible and unpredictable. Even if it is Kang, at this moment, the expression changes instantly. The palm of the day, give this town a big drink, the same burst of a palm. Hey! The power of the two palms collided in the void, and the sound of the bursting moment swept, centering on the strength of the two, and tens of millions of miles between the moments. Rumble. This time, the void directly broke down, a scene of destruction. Who can imagine that it is just a collision between the palms, and it is so strong? Even if it is Kang, his face will change again and again. He did not think that Longfei's avatar was so strong. What is even more horrifying is that this palm has a breadth of number, as if it is the same as the number of days. But this is exactly the case, in order to be able to contend with his palm. Number. You actually control the number? Impossible. This is impossible. There is no power in this world that can compete with the number of days. Even the moon bones of the moon are burning. Why do you compete with me? Oh, give me the town. A sigh of anger, a heavy press. He controls the power of the day, and he can say that he controls the fundamentals of all power operations. So it would be so arrogant that everything is in your own hands. However, I did not expect that, now that Longfei was separated, he even took control of this power, even if it was a number of days. There is nothing impossible, but it is you, a body repair, all special cultivation to the dog. The number of days is a number, then my number is also a kind. However, you want to control the number of heaven and earth, control the number of people, but I am different. What I control is only the number of power. Longfei said coldly. Then the palm disappeared and a punch was made again. Similarly, in this boxing, there is also a number of powers. The moment that slams into the sky, it changes constantly, as if looking for a specific trajectory. Chapter 4584. Chapter 4584. Above the void, the terror war continues. Whether it is Kang or Longfei, it is already a real anger. This is a counterforce confrontation. The sky is used by the gods, and the dragon flies with the body, using the number of power. Between the two sides has already played a real fire. Between the fists of the transformation, the endless power broke out, even the heavens and the earth are unbearable. The sky fell and the nebula shattered. Real violent. Below, a few people who have been protected by the great sun god have long lost their faces. Before, they also wanted to use their lives to win time for Longfei. But now, when they see this battle, they know. They have always been wishful thinking. In the face of this power, their lives are really worthless. However, at this moment, they are thinking. Under this power, can Longfei win? Do they still have the hope of victory? At this time, the night child smiled slowly and opened his eyes, and his face was exhausted. Looking at the battle that broke out above the void, there was a sigh of sadness in his eyes. He is not an opponent. The night child said faintly. Before, although she was seriously injured, she was clear about the dialogue between Longfei and the sun god. So there is no doubt about the identity of the two. How can I see it? Although Kang is powerful, this person is also pursuing the ultimate strength. Being trained in front of him has long been a concept. His strength is that he has already been above the definition. The big sun goddess said. It seems that I have a good understanding of Longfei. No, he is very strong. Even when I was in the heyday, I couldn't compare it. Even if I was in my previous life, I would not be able to say that I could easily win. But the real terrorist power has not been applied. Otherwise, I will not use the burning bones to delay the time. Night Child Mai said, some kind of anxiety is also a bit strong. It seems to be extremely worrying. And the face of the big sun goddess also instantly hangs down. She is extremely limited in her understanding of Kang. She only knows the identity of Kang in the heavens and the world, and even rarely sees her hands. But the night is different. She has hundreds of thousands of years of causal grievances between her and her. Even the last life was killed by Kang. Therefore, she had to believe in her words. However, her heart still holds a little hope. Is there a possibility that there is no possibility? Asked the woman of the great sun. No, but I believe that as long as I can drag the dragon to the customs, all this will be solved. Night Child Mai said, extremely firm. Between the talks, the nephew also became a little gentle, looking at the direction of Longfei retreat. Dragonfly. The big sun ***** girl whispered. But in a flash, it is also a bitter smile. If Kang really has such a horror, what can you do if Longfei returns? I am not a low-flying dragon. Even if he is the son of a big man, I don't believe it. He can be stronger than the one in front of him, said the great sun ***** girl. When the words came out, the night child turned and suddenly turned around, staring at the big sun goddess. If you are also saved by an adult, you should know your own position. The night child's sweet voice is cold. Obviously it is impossible to see the big sun goddess look down on Longfei. The big young goddess directly shuts her mouth and does not want to be entangled with the night child on this issue. In turn, I looked at the void. At this point, the battle between the two sides has been heated up. Longfei is almost violent, with a punch against the void. Even if it was a figure of Kang, he was beaten and bruised. However, Longfei is not as good as where to go. Under the power of the day, his body has long been riddled with blood and blood. The power of the heavens is like a sharp blade, and his body is split, and the blood is dyed red. Ha ha ha, the number of power? Have to say, very strong. But I have already said that under the days, everything is a phantom. In this world, there is no power and it can resist the number of days. He said with a deep voice, watching Longfei, who is still fighting hard, and laughing. At this moment, the outcome has been divided. Even though Kang was extremely hurt, under the power of the day, he was still invincible. Longfei's face was cold, and he looked coldly and arrogantly above the void, clenching his fists. There is also a flash of light in the scorpion, and it seems that I still analyze the power of Kang and want to disintegrate it. But at this time, the figure of Kang has once again become illusory, and disappeared in a blink of an eye. And Longfei split his face at this moment. It is also extremely embarrassing. Puff! A blood arrow spurted out of the mouth, and the body of Longfei's body was slowly bent, just like being crushed by some kind of force. Not only him, even the enchantment of the great sun goddess also sizzles at this moment. This young goddess changed her face and finally realized the seriousness of the problem. And the night child is charming, but also at this moment strong support the body, stood up, solemn. This is the land of terror that I said. He can already be incarnate for days. At this moment, in front of the celestial number, all their powers are insignificant. Even if it is to be strong, it will not help. Because at this moment, what they face is no longer a simple one. It is in the face of the power of the entire world. At this time, Longfei's avatar was suddenly exerted, and his hands were directly emptied, and he stood up hard. Go! Longfei screamed and screamed. Obviously, he also realized the horror of Kang, so at this moment also want to fight himself, let the night child and others wait. The big sun goddess did not dare to hesitate. In the twinkling of an eye, a force rushed out and held everyone behind them. Then they broke through the sky in a blink of an eye, trying to break the barrier of the world of celestial beings and leave this place. However, just as their figure was about to approach the void, a pair of big hands suddenly fell from the void. Boom! Boom! The big sun ***** girl was caught off guard, directly hit by this power, and fell heavily from the void. Walk! Going! This seat has long said that you all have to die today. And your strength is very special. The number of strength. Yes, this seat is going to be. As for you, let me die now. The voice of Kang appeared from above the void, and there was no trace, and it could not be found. However, it seems to be everywhere, lingering in the hearts of everyone. Then, above the void, it was even more shocking, and immediately countless light spots descended from the sky, and then turned into a chain, and swept away toward several people. Hey! Hey! In the blink of an eye, countless chains directly detached Longfei to the tight void. Then, it is the big sun ******* girl, the night child charm, the white deer in the twinkling of an eye. Few people could not be spared, and they were controlled by the power of the number of days. But even Kang did not notice that at this moment in a certain direction above the void, the space crack appeared quietly. Chapter 4585. Chapter 4585. Lolo Lane. Oh Lolo. In the blink of an eye, there are countless days of chains, all over the void. It is the dragon flying and controlling the number of powers. At this time, it is impossible to break free, and it is controlled by the chain of days. Ha ha ha, what can you do when you jump out? What can be done to control the limits of power? It's not like a dog that is bound by this seat. The layout of this seat is countless years, and it is today. The voice of the sky is full of infinite haze, which is uploaded from the void. Then, above the entire sky, a pair of big hands control the countless days of chains, swaying down. Snapped. A chain is directly smashed on the dragonfly body. Just a moment, Longfei split directly into the flesh. However, Longfei had no snoring. Just looking, very deep looking outside the void. It seems that the attack on Kang is completely ignoring the general. And this also inspired the fierceness of Kang. Seeing that Longfei has no reaction at all, it is even more intensified. One chain after another falls from the void. Hey! One after another. And the flying body of Longfei, under the successive attacks of this power, has already been dyed with blood for a long time, and the skin of Senran has already been revealed. Yes, that's it. Longfei is still dull and silent. Let these forces work on your own body without flashing away. Not wanting, but not. It is the fact that Longfei is clearly aware that the power he controls now is even the extreme of spiritual practice, but in the face of the power of Kang, he is still stretched. Not that he is not strong enough. Rather, the power of the day is hard to figure out. And the cultivation of the ultimate strength, is the ultimate practice. And the number of days is unpredictable. Just like now, the number of days in the sky is dissipated in infinity. Even if he has a strength, it is useless. And now in this case, if he is hiding, then this power will fall on the night child and others. Even if it is a simple cultivation madness. But I also know that these people are extremely important to Longfei. Therefore, he can't hide. At this time, Kang also seemed to perceive the intention of the avatar, and snorted, saying, I want to rely on my own strength, to resist the number of days in this seat, to protect them. It's pretty beautiful. But unfortunately, the power of the days, the endless changes, this seat depends on you to see how long you can resist. Days, off. Kang a big drink. Immediately, countless chains slammed into shock, and then directly burned out the blazing flame. Boom. The flames smashed into the sky, and in a flash, the dragons were entangled through countless chains. Even if you want to continue to spread, the attack wants to be like a child. The eyes of Longfei's avatar slowly swayed, squatting in the depths, revealing a slap in the face and fighting spirit, and then, with both hands jerked, the chain of endless burning was pulled back. Then entangled in yourself. Stinging thorns. The endless flame is burning, just the time of blinking, and the dragon flying directly turns into a fireman. However, the avatar is still not letting go, and all the attacks of the number of days will be stopped. But the life of his body is getting weaker and weaker. Countless flames directly ravage his physical body. Even if it is an avatar, the face becomes awkward and seems to be extremely tormented. Moreover, even if it can now survive, it is also hard to resist. It will not be long before it will be wiped out by this power. For a time, even the big sun goddess, his face became extremely embarrassing. And the night child is charming, but also a pair of fists clenched, a look of unwillingness. It's just that it's useless to be unwilling. Now they are in front of Kang, they are fish, and Kang is a knife, completely in control of them, even if it is a chain of days, they cannot get rid of it. Dragonfly, don't come out. Don't come out. The night of the night is plunging, and a deep sorrow emerges in my heart. At this moment, the only thing she hopes is that Longfei can be safe and sound, and cannot appear under this void. Because of the horror of Kang, it is beyond her expectations. The arrival of Longfei's avatar, she thought it was a hope. But as a result, under the hands of Kang, it is still defeated. Therefore, now she does not want Longfei to appear again. However, just as her mind had just fallen, above the void, a roar of noise appeared. I saw that a figure directly smashed the space and fell on the void. Dragonfly, the host, boss. In an instant, a scream appeared. The appearance of Longfei directly attracted the attention of everyone. However, the faces of several people are not the same. Night Child Mai is worried, but the white deer and the Genma are a look of excitement. In their eyes, Longfei is invincible. As long as Longfei appears, what Kang, what days, all are not words, just a word, dry. Only the big young goddess, but looking at the dragonfly, said fiercely, "No, his state is wrong. His spirit is not in the body." The sun girl exclaimed. The other few people are also momentary movements, once again looking at Longfei, the eyes are full of panic. Although they are not as good as the big sun goddess, the level of repair is very large, but it can also be seen that Longfei is not right. Because, after the emergence of Longfei at this time, there was no movement, just step by step toward the avatar. Similarly, the avatar also noticed the arrival of Longfei. The deity. The body that was almost burned by the flames was faintly open and indifferent. And the body of Longfei is also trembled at this moment. Cool. Nearly low in general, rapid breathing. As if the whole body is brewing anger. The next moment, Longfei double-turned, endless anger erupted from his eyes. At the same time, the power of eternal life is almost violent, and it is vented from the body of Longfei. Oh la la. In the next moment, Longfei shot directly, with both hands moving, and grabbed countless days of chains in his hands. Then one after the other, all wrapped in their own hands, and finally the power burst. Boom. Hey. A force bursts, countless days of chain, and directly collapse. Directly cut into inches, become countless pieces, dissipated above the void. And the avatar, at this moment, the body began to fall, but fortunately there is a big sun goddess in the direct use of means, the dragonfly to pick up. Dragon, you must be careful. Night Child Mai also said at this time. However, Longfei seems to be inaudible. When he looks up, he looks directly at the endless void. Dragonfly, are you dare to come out? This seat thinks you are doing it and shrinking the tortoise. You don't even want to be a brother or a woman. However, what can be done when you come out? You are all dead. Kang's voice fell, still very proud, not to put Longfei in his eyes. Chapter 4586. Chapter 4586. At this time, Longfei knew the depths of the sea. The system girl is motionless and surrounds the eternal life. Master, how do you feel now? Asked the system sister. In front of her eyes, in the eternal life, the soul of Longfei is lying in the eternal life. Shuang, it's never been better. The system sister, and this kind of operation, directly control my body with the power of eternal life. But this, will it have any effect on me? Longfei asked. At this moment, his soul has not merged, but still cannot perceive the outside world. This is naturally the solution that the system girl gave to the show. Because he is the Lord of eternal life, in this eternal life, you can truly control the power of eternal life, and even use the power of eternal life to control the flesh. It is precisely because of this that Longfei saw the outside world through the eternal life. Everyone was seriously injured, and the anger broke out directly, and went up. It was originally influential, because using the power of eternal life to control the flesh also has an influence on the spirit of the master. Whether it is successful or not, it is feared that the master will spend some time in this eternal life until the true control of the power of eternal life. But now, nothing is going on. Even if the owner wants to go out now, it is easy. The system sister said. Really? Longfei was happy. He is now angry and burning. The most wanted thing to do is to return to the soul, and then kill the scorpion to smother the hatred. So I heard the system sister said that there are ways to carry out, and my heart naturally excited. Of course it is true, I will not lie to the master. But the master's avatar is really strong, pure combat power, afraid of being with the owner is not much more. System sister said. Longfei is also a glimpse. Divided. Longfei was puzzled, and immediately thought of a fireman who had been rescued before, and his heart suddenly became excited. Nima, I said how I felt very uncomfortable before. It turned out to be a dog thing in Kang, and it was tormenting my avatar. Longfei sat directly in the eternal life, killing and screaming. Master, don't worry. Now you have nothing to do with your avatar, and in this state, it is just right to replace you, sitting in this eternal life. When he really gets the power of eternal life, when the master recombines, it will definitely step into the sky. The system sister said. When I spoke, my eyes sparkled with my eyes. As if I had expected that day. Replace me with an avatar. I am able to go out into this eternal shackle. Longfei also guessed the key points of the system sister's problems. However, the problem is coming again. Now that Yongsheng is in his own knowledge of the sea, there is no way to get in the avatar. In other words, this program is just like talking on paper. It doesn't work. Yes, the master, the avatar is also you. Although you have not yet fully controlled this power, after all, you are the eternal life, so the avatar is the same. That is to say, the burial of the avatar into this eternal life can be replaced directly, and when the owner enters the body again, it will be easy. The system sister said. But now, this eternal life is in the depths of my knowledge of the sea, how do you get involved? Longfei wondered, asked. Master, you can't get in, but eternal life is deliberately taken out? And, don't you think that this uncontrollable power is in your mind, is it a time bomb? So, just take advantage of this opportunity to let the owner completely control. The system sister said, the tone is firm, it seems to be a mission. Longfei does not doubt it. After all, the crisis outside is now imminent, and there is no time to consider these. Well, how do you do that? Longfei asked. He can't wait. The outside was so violent that not only his avatars were about to collapse, but even his women and brothers were seriously injured. Can't bear it. The cliff can't bear it. Although the power of eternal life is now in control of the flesh, it can counterbalance Kang. However, this kind of power without self-control consciousness can only exert the power of eternal life, and many of its own means cannot be used at all. Even if the power of eternal life is strong, it is no good to manipulate without consciousness. Moreover, this kind of existence that makes Longfei's heart very uncomfortable, if this unconscious operation is given to tyranny, there is really no sense of existence. Only self-dominant, one punch will blow the other party, so that Longfei can vent their hearts. This is simple, just give it to me. When I bring the eternal life to the master's sea of knowledge, the master can return to consciousness directly. As for the owner to get in, I also handed it to me. The system sister said. Well, then you control. Longfei said. Then, Longfei's thoughts sank into the eternal life. The picture turns again and returns to the void. This series of conversations seems cumbersome, but in the midst of Longfei's knowledge of the sea, there is only a few breaths. Therefore, at this time, the battle between Longfei and Kang had no influence at all. Longfei is still controlled by the eternal power of the sister, but it is still very violent. After the chain of days is cut off, it is directly hitting the void. Rumble. The power of eternal life is soaring and erupts in the fist of Longfei, directly giving the entire sky to the tremors out of the 100 miles, so that the void under the pressure is violently scattered. Suddenly, Everyone under the pressure was relieved. At this time, the voice of Kang was also uploaded from the void, full of anger. Impossible, what is this power, why is it not within the number of days, and even the number of days cannot be perceived? This is absolutely impossible, I don't believe it, I don't believe it. Cry with a sigh. There was still panic in anger. For the first time, he broke out of this emotion. Even if the night is fascinating with the burning of the bones, even if it is the number of strengths, it shows a terrifying power, and even his strength can only be used to suppress, he did not feel terrified. But now, Long Fei has a shot, this breath, even the power of the days, is shivering. This is the real place of horror. However, Long Fei simply ignored it and responded with only one punch. Boom. The sky is once again retreating, even if it is Kang, it is also a sigh. It seems that under this power, even if it is a number of days, it has to be avoided. Rumble. Once again, the sky was bombarded back over 9 days. At this time, the dragonfly in the boxing suddenly moved a meal, and then the light flashed. At the same time, behind him, a bronze ancient appeared suddenly, suspended behind the dragon. Long Fei's gaze must be directed to his own avatar, just to see the body of the avatar, flying directly to himself without control. No, or to come to the eternal life behind you. Booming. The next moment, the ancient roared, the cover directly opened a gap, and then the body of the split directly into it. Chapter 4587. Chapter 4587. Everything, let it go, is done directly between almost one thought. It is not as complicated as what Long Fei imagined. There is not even any intuition. Open your eyes and the soul has returned to the flesh. Reliable, or the system sister is arrogant. There are systematic sisters, invincible systems, only worthy of the name of invincible. Long Fei thought. And Long Fei's mind is also clear that it is because he is separated into the eternal life and he can return safely. But now, Long Fei has not thought much about this. It looks at the void. The root of all cholera is Kang, and only when it is destroyed, everything can end. And Long Fei, at this time also began to practice the system with, System Sister, what level of boss is Kang? Long Fei asked. The wall is the boss. This is no doubt. Even Chu Shanhai got the power of some rules and became bosses. Then there is no accident in the existence of Kang, it is definitely a boss. The host waits a little, the boss system is being updated. The system sister said. A dragon flies. In the past, no matter which version of the system, for the boss, it can be seen at a glance. But now I did not expect that the system has advanced to the strongest sequence, but even this feature is gone. But without a second, a crisp sound appeared. Just like in the real game, the full entry into the 5G era is infinitely fast in 1 second. Then, all the information about Kang is presented in front of Long Fei. Hey, congratulations to the player, the boss interface is loaded. Kang, Extreme Boss. Blood volume. Attack. Second injury, 100 million points. Description. Take control of the number of days, the strongest boss in the world. However, after Long Fei looked, there was no surprise on his face. The system is arrogant, loading all in 1 second. However, the information that was loaded made Long Fei stunned. Too strong. The information prompt of the boss before returning completely. However, whether it is blood or attack, it is an infinite question mark. This is no problem, but what is a ghost of 100 million seconds? Sister, what is this special? 100 million? Long Fei asked. This kind of attribute is completely human life. Long Fei does not know his current attributes, how much blood there is. However, the system has been updated and all cardinalities are recalculated. Therefore, even if it is Long Fei, it does not believe that it has a blood count of 100 million points. In other words, if you hit a second injury, you might be able to kill him with a direct blow. Master, this is the analysis of the attributes of the roots of the people, although I don't know what he has. But that skill can indeed do this damage. So, the owner must be careful. I can't do it, I will take the shot and use the power of the system to protect the owner from leaving. the system sister said. Hearing here, Longfei's eyes are suddenly shrinking. Do you want to kill? There is such a way to kill everything, and Longfei is not surprised at all. Otherwise, their mothers will not exert the power of time and space, paving so many backwards for themselves. There is also a violent system before, and will not come to arrange such a task for yourself. What really makes Longfei feel shocked is that the system sister said that she can use the power of the system to protect herself. This special property is unprecedented. System girl? What do you say? The system still has the power to protect me? Longfei quickly asked. Of course, this is a reward that comes with the system after each system enters the highest sequence. However, it is best for the owner not to lie on this kind of power. After all, the master is the person who wants the supreme plane. These forces are a kind of cards. The system sister said, extremely dignified. Longfei focuses on the head. Without the system sister, Longfei naturally guessed the importance of this power. Therefore, when it is absolutely necessary, Longfei will never use it. Longfei's mind was moved and his eyes turned to the void. At this time, Kang has no trace at all. The whole figure seems to have been integrated into the innocent sky, everywhere. However, this means, in the view of Longfei, is fancy, but it is useless. At this time, the celestial number is also constantly oppressed. The two fists were beaten back to the original shape by Longfei, which made his heart full of shock. Even for the power of Longfei, there has been fear. However, the more he is embarrassed, and the higher his mind is about the killing of Longfei. With the layout of the ages, he has now become the real master of the days, in order to eliminate all existence that may threaten him. Now, Longfei has jumped out of control. Therefore, in any case, he will not condone Longfei and continue to exist. Dog things, I know that this seat should not leave you at all, it should be destroyed in the heavens and the world. The voice of Kang was sent out indifferently. Longfei snorted. Even if you know the violent anger of the sky, you know the horror of this level. However, he will not back down. Not to mention that Kang has hurt his own woman and brother so much. It is faint to rely on this is a supreme boss. Longfei will not retreat. Boss is in front, not exploding, it is a torture for Longfei. Going back without fighting? It is impossible to exist. Kang, I really don't know who gave this face. If you really have this kind of ability, you still need to work hard to introduce Laozi into this world of fairy tales. From the moment you used Laozi as a pawn, today's result is already doomed. No one can take advantage of Laotsu, but he can still be safe. Not before, not now, not in the future. Longfei said proudly. Open front. Anyway, it is never acknowledging. At this time, Kang's figure is slowly condensing, giving up the number of days of incarnation and descending on the void. Hey, you are really arrogant. Do you know nothing about your power in this seat? In the heavens and the world, this seat has studied your power more than once, so this seat has long researched a power for you. Kid, have to say, you are the first person to make this seat so frustrating. Even if it is a moon fairy, even if it is respected, there is no such qualification. Kang cold and cold, his eyes are cloudy. And Longfei, the heartbeat is also accelerating at this moment. He has already guessed that what Kang said about strength must be a big injury stroke that was analyzed by the previous system sisters. For a time, Longfei's face was also full of dignity. At the same time, Kang is also directly shot, and suddenly, a fist fell. Days of the boxing, falling from the void. Longfei did not dare to squat, punched with a fist, and then blew out. Invincible punch. With a sigh of anger, Longfei no longer considered so much, the firepower was fully open, and he fought all the way. Chapter 4588. Chapter 4588 Invincible Punch. I am invincible. Longfei punched out and the momentum was unparalleled. He didn't know if this punch could hurt Kang. But at this time, there is no time to think about it, it is dry. Boom. At this time, the strength of the dragon's punch and the number of days of the fist collided in the void. The breath directly bursts. It was like forming a mushroom cloud, sweeping the void. Rumble. Rumble. The infinite power is dissipated, and the whole world is vast and swayed by the power of the two. If you want to destroy the general, you will tremble constantly. Oh la la. A piece of sky fell and fell. The entire darkness of the sky, ups and downs, just like a collapse. The expression of Kang changed, and the pupil suddenly tightened. The power of the rule of the immortal? Is it the creation of the body of the previous civilization? I have to say, you really let this seat surprise. Kang cold said. He now controls the number of days in the world of the fairy, so the power of the dragon's fist is instantly felt. Humph. Long Fei snorted and was unmoved. This punch is a skill that is automatically synthesized after the system is updated. More violent than before. It was only the power of the 4 rules before, but now it has become 7. Together with the later time, the power of space and punishment is also integrated into it. The degree of terror is definitely not comparable. However, in the heart of Long Fei, he also had some hesitation. Although this fist was violent, it did not cause real harm to Kang. This is what makes Long Fei feel really hurt in the heart. His purpose is to kill Kang, is to explode the boss. However, now a skill is thrown out, not to mention that it hurts Kang. Even if the skin of Kang has not touched, it is directly disintegrated by the power of Kang. Sad reminder that even a mist did not appear. I am Nima, is it really impossible? Long Fei thought in his heart. He now has only 3 energy savings in his hands, 1 invincible boxing, 1 king of the world, and 1 demon sword. After the system upgrade, the promotion to the highest sequence, these skills have also changed. It is no exaggeration to say that the current skill power has more than doubled. However, even so, Long Fei's heart is also very clear. This level of power, against Kang, has no effect. After all, Kang is not a general boss. At this time, Kang's figure is a step forward, condescending, and looking at Long Fei. But if your strength is just like this, then your results today are already doomed. Said Shun. Then the 2 arms shook and blasted to Long Fei again. Days of robbery. A big drink, control the power of the day into a robbery. For a moment, a sigh of the world, annihilating the atmosphere of all beings, broke out from the body of Kang. Very violent, incomparable haze. It seems that at this moment, Kang is not only targeting Long Fei, but to destroy the heavens and the earth and repeat the Qiankuan. If you want to kill the world. Hey. For a moment, Long Fei felt an inexplicable pressure that directly swept the whole body. Even now, this kind of flesh is completely unbearable. Moreover, this power is not only the flesh, but also wants to break through the soul of Long Fei. It is necessary to destroy the dragon spirit and let the dragon fly and annihilate. Hey! Long Fei's footsteps continually exploded, and the invincible punch in the hands again bombarded. However, this time it made Long Fei feel shocked. Useless. It's totally useless. This fist can also collapse the sky and force the coups to appear. But now, even the shadows of Lian Kang have never touched. They are directly disintegrated by the power of Kang, and they disappear in the void. I rub, so violent. For a time, Long Fei's heart sank. An impulse to want to marry a mother is born in the heart of Long Fei. Too strong. For the first time, let Long Fei feel a boss and force himself to such a degree. Even if many times before the escape, will not let Long Fei will be depressed. Regardless of the opponent's arrogance, for Long Fei, a word is dry. But now, it doesn't work at all. It's like a game in the game, a level 1 character attacks 100 monsters. I can't move at all. Now, Long Fei has this feeling. Extremely powerless. Even in the face of this power of Kang, Long Fei has no chance to even take out his hand, and can only retire continuously. Booming. But the power of Kang is getting more and more violent, and it is directly crushed away. I don't give Long Fei a chance to breathe. Ha, I can't think of it. The number of days is robbed, even if the Supreme Masters are here, it is also dead. Robbery is robbery and cannot be resolved. Even if you have the power beyond the days of detachment, it will not help. Go to hell. The rage is not enough, and the eyes are full of embarrassment. And Longfei, at this time, is a bright spot. Before, he had been thinking about what the means of Kang were. Even the system sisters are extremely valued. Now, finally it is clear. Don't think about it, it is definitely this means. Days of robbing, annihilating everything. Mom, the number of days of robbery? Lao Tzu's life, sweeping the heavens and the world, how many disasters have rushed over, can you plant in your hands? I don't believe. What days, what is the disaster, in the eyes of Laozi, only strength. The power of eternal life, give it to me. The fierceness of Longfei's heart was also provoked. Roared and looked up fiercely. Brush it. Also at this moment, the dragon flies through the sky. The entire pupil has also completely disappeared from the luster, as if it has become a hollow, very far away. However, one is another long-lived force, and it also emerges from it. Directly raging above the void, reloading the void over and over again. Rumble. Rumble. In a flash, the two extreme relative forces collided in the void. The power of the day is to rob, to destroy all beings, to destroy everything. But the power of eternal life is a living, and everything that passes is a recovery. For a time, the two forces were deadlocked above the void. And Kang's face finally changed. This kind of power has been used before Longfei, but it has no such power. He only knows that this power is beyond the number of days. However, it has never been thought that even the power of annihilation of days can resist. No, impossible, little hybrid, how can you have this power? Impossible, the power of annihilation, the world is unparalleled, you can never stop it. The number of days, give me a burst. Kang continued to roar, his eyes were almost crazy, and his hands were constantly stroked, and the power of the days continued to bless. At the same time, above the void, the power of the road is directly under the control of Kang, directly blue. A dragon flies, wondering what Kang is playing. Because the power of this day is the number of days. Today, the number of self-explosive days, is it not to dig the grave? But in the next moment, in the eyes of Longfei, it finally changed. Do not. Chapter 4589. Chapter 4589. Longfei eyes are full of blood, and they are stunned. I saw that countless days of power blew themselves and turned into a void. In the blink of an eye, it is a raging party. Between the whistling, the power of eternal life is diluted a little bit. This is not the focus of the problem. The point is that the power of these self-destructive days is simply to abandon the Dragon 96 fly, attacking the Night Child and others. This is the reason why Longfei roars. This kind of power, he has the power of eternal life cannot fear. But the Night Child and other people, this is the body of serious injury, cannot help. Hey, Longfei, you have to jump off the day. But what about them? Under the days of annihilation, everything is empty. This seat is for you to watch, they are one by one, and they die in their own hands. The sky said, continue to overwhelm. It seems that it is going to break the boat, and even the power of the days does not care. What is needed is just to destroy the white deer and others. Longfei heart hits. He can fight a battle, but he can't do it without watching his brother and woman being attacked. In particular, this power is enough to kill their lives. It is precisely because of this that Longfei will be angry. Old things, are you not going to kill Laozi? There is something for Lao Tzu. I still control the number of days. Shameless under the anger, the dragon flies more than anger. I didn't even think that Kang would be so shameless to start with the people around him. Shameless? Haha, that's ridiculous. The winner is king, and all history can only be written by the winner. As long as you die, things here will be annihilated in time and space. Said Kang. Do not agree at all. Don't put Longfei's words in your eyes at all. At this level, they don't care about the process. What they want is a result. As for anything else, it is a joke in their eyes and never cares. In the eyes of Longfei, anger, but nothing to do. Suddenly, Longfei doubles and turns between them, directly releasing the power of eternal life, and giving the night child and others a support. But in this way, his back can only be left to Kang. However, Longfei did not have the choice. He does not dare to gamble. These people are all willing to guard their lives, so if there is a trace of threat to their lives, Longfei will not take risks. Master, don't, it's too dangerous. This kind of power, only the power of eternal life can compete, your body can't hold it. At this time, the system directly opened the way. The voice of the system sister is full of worry. I don't want Longfei to be in danger. However, the system sister is too unaware of Longfei. It is impossible for Longfei to give up his brother and woman. Therefore, at this moment, Longfei did not listen to the words of the system sister, but he turned around and left the back to the sky. At this time, the overwhelming number of days robbed the power after the blast, and it rushed. Hey! Bang! All of the brains are on the body of Longfei. But Longfei, in the eyes, is tough and incomprehensible. Looking at the support of his eternal power, the night child and others were safe and sound, and Longfei's mouth finally showed a smile. Haha, is it really affectionate? A good heart and a heavy heart. This seat finally understands why you can walk from a weak little plane in the ancient world to the present, but I don't know if I have heard a word. That is heaven and ruthless. Since you are willing to use your own flesh to fight against them, if you are not killing you, are you too sorry for you? Give me death. A big drink, a series of days directly cracked on the void, and after the blast, turned into a more violent breath, attacking down. Below, at this time, Longfei, who was held by Longfei, has already been tearful. Not only her, even the big sun goddess, her face is extremely lonely. Looking at the dragonfly, the lightness of the shackles finally turned into gentleness. However, she is also more clear that at this time, cannot be shot. This kind of power, if it is shot, will not only bring the slightest help to Longfei, but will drag down Longfei. As for the white deer and other people, each of them seems to burst, the hysterical roaring, seems to want to break free from the power of the great sun goddess, rush out of the void, and fight with you to kill me. You let us go out, the boss is fighting alone outside, let me live here. I can't do it. The white deer voice with a rush, said coldly. Yes, no matter who you are, why? But don't think that you saved us just now, we can stop us now, we must go out. Let the owner stand alone and fight, Lao Tzu can't do it. Jianma has a hot temper and is constantly struggling. But the big sun goddess is simply not moving. For a few people, if you don't hear it. At this time, Longfei suddenly opened, no one can go out. You are going out now, not to disappoint him. He used his life to guard us, but you have to go out to die. How to pay for it? Longfei said a word, staring at the billed horse and the white deer. Then what do you say? Do you want us to watch, the boss can't die? Turned the white deer, and the whole body broke out. No, I believe him. Longfei was a faint response. But the eyes are full of firm colors. I also believe in him. Longfei has never let me down, this time, I believe there will be miracles. Night Child also said. Tears can't stop falling from the eyelids. But the eyes, but never left in the dragonfly. For a time, the white deer and Jianma also received the sound, but in desperation, they could only sigh heavily, and then looked at Longfei. At this time, Longfei was also uncomfortable on the void. The power of eternal life that he can use now is the soul of eternal life, and the power of the soul of eternal life is exerted from the eternal life. As for anything else, Longfei can't control it. That is to say, although he is eternal, but the flesh, he still does not have this power. So under this kind of attack, I can't hold it. Also at this time, a series of system sounds appear directly. That is a high-risk warning. Master, no, this way you will die, your blood is not high, if you continue to resist, you can't resist. The voice of the system sister also appears at the same time. And, now the strength of this person is condensing at the limit, fearing that it will be the next hit, there will be absolute second injury. Master, do not use system power, let us leave here first. The system said. But Longfei, but he shook his head slightly. At this moment, he can naturally perceive that his life is continually passing, and even the bloodstains have bottomed out. However, since he dares to fight, he has his own card. System Sister, I actually wait for his second injury. Chapter 4590. Chapter 4590. Long Fei said faintly, steady in the eyes. Master, are you crazy? Under this power, you can't resist it. Even if you are in the heyday, you can withstand such power. It's hard to have life, let alone you have been seriously injured. The brain of Gigi's sister was crying and nervous. If you have human nature. I know, I am not crazy. This kind of power, even if it is Kang, can be used at most. And this is my chance. Long Fei said firmly. At this time, above the void, the power of countless days burst into bursts, and all of them broke out in the hands of Kang. As if to be desperate, it is to destroy Long Fei. In an instant, a sense of deep crisis emerged on the heart of Long Fei. Under this power, it is Long Fei who feels a threat of death. And it is mortal. Long Fei has a feeling that this power is like a system of killing. Touch it to death. There is no room for struggle. Master, it is this kind of power, I have already calculated it. Master, let's go back, let's go back. It can't be stopped at all. The System Sister said in a panic, full of panic, not willing to continue to stick to Long Fei. Master, as long as you are alive, everything has hope. When you come to the Supreme Plane and get the power of eternal life, it is not impossible to resurrect them. But if you have any accidents, everything will be finished. The System Sister again dissuaded. However, Long Fei, but in the eyes is full of firmness. Mom, fight. This kind of means is not too bad, and the second is hurting 100 million. Who will come across in the future, but why not kill it? Long Fei has a heart in his heart. Give up. It is impossible. Moreover, Long Fei has never hoped for the power of the system. Although the power of the system is arrogant, this time it is a 3-time life-saving opportunity. But Long Fei didn't want to use it at all. As the System Sister said, in the future, he will step into the Supreme, and the crisis is more, now use it, what should I do then? Moreover, once the power of the system is used, it can be saved. But what about your own brother? What about women? It is impossible for Long Fei to give up and save themselves. As long as you have a good breath, Long Fei will never give up on them alone. Moreover, in the face of such a superboss, let Long Fei escape without fighting? It is a torture for Long Fei. System Sister, don't have to persuade me. Ask for wealth. I know that this time the strength of the other side is very strong. Under one blow, I have absolutely no possibility of surviving. So, next, it depends on you. Long Fei said, telling the system about his plans. Master, no, this is too risky. If the strength of the other party can't resist even the eternal life, what do you do? This is too dangerous. The system girl still refused. In her mind, Long Fei is supreme, and everything is centered on Long Fei. As for the rest, it is not considered at all. So, as long as there is a little risk, the system wants to veto. However, Long Fei is too determined. As long as it is a matter identified by Long Fei, there is absolutely no possibility of turning back. There is not so much if, rest assured, this time, as long as I don't die, I can do it once and for all. Long Fei blinked and made a decision. At this time, Kang's supreme strike finally fell. Boom. Bang. This blow is extremely scary. In the roar, there is no magic. For example, it contains the will of the whole world of celestial beings, condensing the supreme pressure, and putting Dragonfly to death. On the occasion of the millennium, Long Fei suddenly turned back. The fierce light in the eyes flashed, and the power of infinite eternal life gathered together. Yongsheng, give me the town, angrily screamed. Long Fei mobilizes the power of the soul, dispatches the power of eternal life to the dispatcher, and then directly pulls out the eternal life that floats above the back. Straight across the top of the head. Also at this moment, Long Fei was black. The entire body also seems to be wrapped up by a force of extinction. Then, Long Fei will sink and be directly submerged by the boundless darkness. Rumble. Rumble. In the same way, at this moment, there was a violent explosion on the entire void. Between the roaring, the whole world is almost destroyed. Diligent, there is no slight movement between the heavens and the earth. Do not. The night child screamed with a sigh of relief, and some kind of sorrow, the tears flowed directly through the entire face, miserable. The look of the goddess of the sun is dim, and there is also a sigh of relief in the eyes. No, it's impossible. Boss. The white deer will not be tolerated at this moment, and will not rush to the body and directly rush to the void. One head plunged into the breath of endless annihilation. Dog stuff, kill my master, I am fighting with you. Genma is also a humming, roaring, double-winged, shocking, and rushing into the void. At this time, above the void, the figure of Kang slowly appeared. However, the state before this time is not the same as before. If you say that before, because of the power of the sky, the existence of Kang is extremely illusory. So now, the number of days of robbery has dissipated. The power of endless days was also blew by him. At this moment, he has no conditions for the number of days of incarnation, so it seems that it is extraordinarily true. Even so, the smell of his body is still violent. Ha ha ha, dead, finally dead. This seat has long said that under the number of days, I will be the only one. What can you do with the power of detachment days? It is not dying. The laughter of Tsungshi Shidi is crazy. His eyes looked at the atmosphere of endless destruction in front of him, and there was no trace of dragon flying, and his heart was very proud. As for the rest, he is not in the eye. Even if the construction of the horse has risen to the void, carrying the endless thunder, is not afraid. It was not until the Genma stepped on the foot that he would bombard him in front of him, only to make a punch. Hey! One punched out, the figure of Genma flew straight out and fell heavily on the ground. Do you dare to shoot me at this point? Waste. Even if your master is a waste in front of Lousy, what about you? Kang cold, extremely disdain. Immediately, his gaze directly locked the night. Moon, see it. Everything is over. After all, no one can rebel against the power of the day. You, after all, are defeated. Before the end of the ages, it is the same now. My power, no one can rival. The sky said, between the words, the hand is standing in the sky. Shows a master like a lonely snow. Incomparably loaded. It can be loaded for only 3 seconds, and a roar bursts directly from the void. Then, a sound instantly breaks all the fantasies of Kang. End your numbness, Laro Tsu has not died yet. But now, I am not dead, it is you who died. Chapter 4591. Chapter 4591. The sound of Longfei echoed the void. For a moment, Kang's face was pale. The moment before was still very proud, but now, it was woken up by Longfei. Even, it has become flustered. No, it's impossible, you are dead. The look of the sky has changed dramatically. Throwing a few steps, it seems like a ghostly expression, unbelievable, and looking at the void with horror. But in the void, there is no figure of Longfei. It is like a sentence that appears out of thin air. But Kang's face did not dare to be small, very cautious, step by step to the center of the previous power outburst. He must find out. The life and death of Longfei is a deadly threat to him. He will never allow any hidden dangers to exist. But in fact, the same flustered one in Kang's heart. Whether you die or not, this seat will not give you a chance to get up a second time. Fire of the days, give me a fire. Low voice, very crazy. Immediately, the power in the hands is taken from above the void. Immediately, a little flame fell from above the void. Boom. A little flame blame, in a blink of an eye, it is violent. Even the place where Longfei's figure disappeared was filled with flames. On the face of Kang, there was finally a sneer. Ha ha ha, even if you don't die, this time, Laro Tsu will also make you a dead dog. With a laugh, Kang's footsteps stopped above the void. What he didn't know was that at this time in the center of endless flame burning, taking the white deer as a device, he directly relies on his own body as a wall and blocks in front of Longfei. Boss, you go first, take the big sister and a few of them, go. The white deer is sweating, and even the clothes have been burned out by the flame, and the skin begins to crack under the flame. But still one step back. And behind him, he was standing on the void with a flying face. Yes, it is a calm face. His face is full of confidence. Even the dragon's body could not find the slightest scar. Even more terror is that, let alone the injury, Longfei's current state is even more violent than the peak period. When there is no battle with Kang before, the breath is even more terrifying. However, the white deer did not understand what happened to Longfei. At this moment, he only wants to let Longfei leave. Go. Why do you want to go now? I feel like I have never been better. In your eyes, is your boss so embarrassed? Reassure, I said before, I don't die, he is dead. The dragon's mouth smirked with a touch of laughter. And the face is full of self-confidence, as if you are now, you can kill the sky. Boss, now is not a time to reluctantly, you have seen the power of Kang, and it is almost violent to the world. Although I know that you are extremely strong, you can't hide. But now, you can't be hard. Otherwise, you may have to explain it here, said the white deer heavily. Obviously, I don't believe in Longfei. Although he knows that Longfei is a powerful group, the power is not what he can compare. But he still doesn't think that Longfei is Kang's opponent. It can be said that the blow just made has caused a shadow in his heart. Now, the only gratification for him is that Longfei is safe and sound. Therefore, it is absolutely impossible for him to watch Longfei and take risks. Longfei glimpsed, looking at the face of the white deer, not only did not feel the white deer, but the heart was filled with a deep touch. He also knows the reason for the white deer's concern. However, it is impossible to let Longfei regress now. Reassured, now you are the boss, I am different from before. I want to kill the sky, it is easy. Longfei said, his face is proud. However, this is not arrogant. Rather, it is said that Longfei has this chi and has this capital. Then, Longfei's eyes must be in direct contact with the system. System girl, how? I know, I will be able to gamble, Longfei said. Extremely excited. This time, it can be said that it is a bet on life. The only key is the system sister. Obviously, this time the system girl did not let Longfei disappoint, and it was just right to control everything. Just now, it was at the moment when Kang showed a killing. Longfei tried his best and resisted it with the eternal life. That's it, the power is terrible to make Longfei feel suffocated. Even, he felt that his blood was suddenly slipped to the end. Yes, it is the moment when the power is about to erupt and the body is annihilated. The system sister shot in time. Directly integrate the experience of Experience Dan into the body of Longfei. 6 to 6 Experience Dan, each 30 points, directly integrated, bringing Longfei 1,800 points of experience. Of course, this is due to data changes after the system upgrade. As with experience, it begins to spread according to a certain amount of pen power. It can be enough for the current Longfei. Therefore, after that kind of power dissipated, Longfei was not only safe and sound, but also upgraded directly. All the states directly return to the peak. Again, at this time, the sound of the system also appears directly. Hey, congratulations to the player upgrade, the current level is super big and full, with an experience of 1,305,000 points. This is a reminder of the system that has nothing to do with the system sister. In other words, this kind of prompt is just a basic function of the system, while the system girl is an upgrade function. Call, good insurance, the owner is just too dangerous, if not for people to shoot in time, afraid that the system cannot keep you. The system sister looked at the towering chest after fear. The two groups of Zhu Yu's big white meat, watching the dragon fly is a heart. Cough, sister, you still have to change the costume, don't be so angry, Longfei said. In my heart, I secretly concealed that after this upgrade, my energy was too strong, and I couldn't control myself many times. I even thought about the system girl. Master, you are good or bad? The system sister was shy, but still followed the mind of Longfei and changed her costume. Can Longfei, I still cannot look directly at the system sister. Mom, it's not that I'm not strong, but the system girl is too hot. Longfei's heart comforted himself. Then the eyes must be, sister, it's time to do business. The hand of Laozi's avenue is already hungry and thirsty. The dragon's mouth was picked, and a cold smile appeared. Then, Longfei's eyes turned, and the power of eternal life emerged from the eyes, directly annihilating the flames of the sky. Then, step out. Kang, I can't think of it, Laro Tsu is still alive. And, better than before. But now, are you ready? Longfei stepped over the void and confronted Kang. The eyes of the eyes are full of panic, step by step backwards. But Longfei, but it is pressing hard, I want to retire. It is impossible. Today, no one can stop Laozi, I want to kill the sky. Chapter 4592. Chapter 4592. As soon as the phrase fell, Longfei was proud of the void, invincible, sweeping the void. In contrast, Kang's face is pale. He can also feel that the breath of Longfei has changed. You broke through? No, impossible. This is absolutely impossible. No one can survive under the annihilation of the days, and it is impossible to break through. Who are you? Who are you? You can never be a dragon. Panic and open mouth. Mouth is not a word. Like being caught in a madness, I don't believe that Longfei can be safe and sound, even repaired to be stronger than before. Who am I? Laozi is your ancestor. Mom, the number of days in control is very strong. I almost beat Laozi. Do not explode you, I feel that this opportunity for this life. Longfei said coldly. All the anger in the heart vented. Too bad. Before playing against him, although he can compete with Kang, he is still passive. Moreover, in order to protect the Night Child and other people, the means of self-resistance against the heavens made Longfei suffer serious injuries. Therefore, Longfei's heart had already smashed his stomach. Now that the upgrade has come back, there is only one thought in Longfei's heart, that is, to smash the sky. Moreover, in order to deal with Kang, even the experienced Dan has been swallowed up. Direct upgrade. If this situation is not violent, Longfei is afraid of the system's existence. At this time, the Knight of the Night, Mai, and others are filled with joy. Longfei is their main heart. Before they thought that Longfei was killed by Kang, he had already died and he had given up his struggle. Now, Longfei is safe and sound, and their hearts are instantly wrapped up with excitement. Even the Genma, which was seriously injured before, slowly regained consciousness. In the corner of the void, I looked excitedly at the dragonfly flying. Master. Genma has a tough opening. The sound is very weak. But it was also captured by Longfei. In an instant, Longfei looked at Genma, and he said nothing, but a direct drop of blood squeezed out of his body. I am doing very well, my brother of Longfei, it's just like this. This drop of blood is a reward for you, not only can you recover from your injury, but it can also make you go further. Longfei said. Immediately, I looked at the knight, and my eyes became soft. Reassured, everything he put on you, my husband is now coming back to you. The new account is calculated together. I am going to pay for his life today, Longfei said. After that, Longfei's body changed. The super successful and full-fledged atmosphere directly rises to the sky. Boom. When the breath was shocked, Longfei directly condensed a punch. However, this momentum is even more violent than before. After all, to the extent of Longfei, the level of improvement is one level, the change of power, and the increase of several times. The same moves, with the power of the present, cannot be used in the same way. Boom. Boom. The momentum is soaring. Longfei directly punches out, invincible punches come out, violent emptiness. Days in the box. Give me the town. Kang is also a big drink. I don't dare to take advantage of the power of Longfei. Just before, in the face of the invincible punch of Longfei, it also needs to be taken seriously. Not to mention that Longfei has now broken through. Therefore, in the face of this boxing, Kang's heart is extremely urgent. Hey! The two fists collided, and the fist of Kang's days was instantly annihilated under the invincibility of Longfei. Hey! Another sound, the figure of Kang was directly blown by a dragon. Rumble. A roar appeared, and the figure of Kang directly fell to the void, and even the sternum collapsed. This punch is visible and directly hurts him. Longfei is also a glimpse, and he did not think that his power was so violent. Ha ha ha, I almost forgot, Nima was blue by you every day. Now your days are punching, it is rubbish. Longfei said directly. Endless ridicule. Lost the days of Kang, is there a threat in his eyes? Non-existent. All means of Kang, the arrogant capital is the power of the day. But now, he consciously squandered the tomb, in order to kill the dragon, the power of the days of self-destruction, in order to kill. But he does not know, Longfei has a system, this kind of anti-day existence. Even if the power of the day blew itself, I couldn't give the dragon a fly. And Longfei, after perceiving this, is even more unscrupulous. Crazy, are you calling again? Don't you say that lousy is a waste. What are you now? Garbage. Dregs Kang. Longfei said one word at a time, so he did not hide the irony in his eyes. To treat such a person is to use his own way to give him another body. Before the Kang, the madness of a ratio, no one in sight. I completely take myself as the master. So now, Longfei will never let go of the opportunity to beat the dog. At this moment, Kang's eyes are also full of anger. Dragon, don't be too arrogant. The number of days is supreme. What if you are now powerful? Do you dare to kill me? Believe it or not, in the words of the heavens, the honor will start the war, and all your brothers and women will be killed. A cold smile, threatened. He has no fear. Even if Longfei is now violent and has the means to threaten him, he still has his own cards in his heart. And his voice fell, and the dragon's eyes were suddenly filled with anger and became scarlet. You are looking for death. Drink a lot. The flying killing in Longfei's heart has already skyrocketed. I have to say that Kang's words really touched the heart of Longfei. He cares most about his brother and woman. Now that I hear the threat of Kang, my heart is also a bit hesitant. Ha ha ha, I am looking for death. Dragon, you are a ***** that comes in a small world, and you dare to be arrogant. What can you do if you dare to kill me? As long as you dare to kill me, this world will collapse in the world. Whenever, Kang will notice everything here, and it will directly lead to the phoenix. So, do you dare to move me? Said coldly. Very incomparable. Even if it is not the opponent of Longfei, it is still extremely arrogant. And Longfei is now angry and rising in his heart. I can't wait to blow Kang directly. However, Kang's words also made him panic and did not dare to shoot. At this time, in the mind of Longfei's mind, the voice of the system sister appears directly. Master, don't worry so much, I have the means to let Kang die, still keep the number of days in this world, will not be perceived by the outside world. The system sister said. A dragon flies, and immediately ecstasy in the eyes. For the system, Longfei will not have the slightest doubt. Since the system sisters have said this, it shows that there must be a corresponding means. As a result, the worry of Longfei's heart disappeared directly. Then, Longfei snorted, don't you? Do you think your threat is useful to Laozi? If you don't exist, Lao Tzu wants to kill people. What can you do with respect? Emperor, I am not afraid. Don't dare to threaten me, now, give me a burst. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.